hours long, the mountain calls. Every turn a battle, every straight a fall. Engines roar like hearts that beat, fighting and refusing to retreat. Like the track, life's got its twists, but the finish line is where the hope begins. Climb the hill, feel the weight. Every second counts, it's not too late. Side by side, we take the fight through the dark into the light.
Ooh, GT3R. Also a solid pick. I mean,
few corner names do have a lot of history, but ironically, the bus stop should.
It used to go around a customs border, but yeah, now we're into qualifying, so let's see what this race has in store for us. 20 teams are here today, and I think
21.
that is... yeah, 21. We had 23 participants, so 2 didn't show up. Maybe they will later, but in the past, everyone who was in qualifying, that was the total number of drivers we had. And look at this livery, eh?
It's beautiful.
Quite a unique livery, yeah. I've seen that last in a few other races. I'm not completely sure about last race, but definitely on race 2 weeks ago in Laguna Seca. Iconic livery from Dan Leeshan and his teammate Wes Lee. Driving in the number 33 Lexus for the team Patachak. I hope I'm spelling that correctly. Don't. Yeah, Patachak. And I think they are already... no, that's still an out lap. So they're probably gonna be the first ones to start a lap. And let's see what times we're setting. I mean, we have some familiar names here again today. We've seen quite a few of those drivers. Not everyone. We have a few new faces here as well. But yeah, Dan Leeshan, already a famous person in Gripmotorsport, winner of last race, and Wesley is also known, and they're teammates for today. We also know the two Issingers driving for Issinger Racing Team in currently P6, Marius Issinger and his brother Toby Issinger in the number 666 Ferrari. We also know the Newcoops racing for simracinghub.nl in the number 63 BMW M4. Luke Newcoop and Micha Newcoop. Also some known names, brothers as well. So we might see the battle of the brothers today. Also,
Lots of families with it.
lots of families. We also know Max Enting in P12, racing together with Epi Jongman, actually the father of our production lead, Jimmy, racing for TMT Studios Racing in the number 31 McLaren. Also Randhauer, currently in P5. I've seen him in some previous races, if I'm not mistaken. And Wesley now actually in the number 33 Lexus. So either that was an overlay technical difficulty with it showing Dan Leeschen earlier, or they switched drivers mid-lap.
Which is unlikely. I
Pretty
don't know
unlikely.
if you can do that in Assetto Corsa, but curious. Okay,
No, I don't
first
think so.
benchmark lap. What, 2 minutes 17 seconds?
That is a
It's not
really
bad.
good time.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
a good lap.
definitely not a bad time. And Micha
Next one
Newcoop
up.
there with a 2:18, but I think he was off the track, so that does not count. We're looking at Marius
Ending
Issinger now.
4 as well, so Lee has a pretty good advantage from the other lap time completed.
Now Marius Issinger coming around the bus stop chicane. And he sets a 2:18.9. So that's 1.8 seconds off Wesley's pace. Still a time that he can catch up to. Probably. If he plays his cards right. But he is stuck now. Behind, I think. What kind of car is that? I mean, that is a BMW M4. But whose car is that? And is he going for an outlap? Getting some drag there. If he's going for another flying lap. He just goes around the outside there. Pretty tricky.
Yeah, well,
We see
traffic
some...
finally out the way and able to continue. Well, we've now looking at Lucas Hinson, never mind. On to Lee, the current provisional pole sitter, with almost a second ahead of everyone else.
Yeah, Lucas Hinson for Kaiser Racing in the number 555 BMW in P2. Yeah, Wesley with almost a second ahead. That was a pretty dominant first time. Very competitive one for sure.
Currently 8/10 ahead, but a little shaky on the bus stop chicane. Only improves by 6/10, which is still even incredible.
Only? Yeah, it was just...
It could have been 8, so... it's definitely, like, just complete dominance so far, over a second ahead of second place.
Roselle
A bit
now
lower.
coming... Yeah. Roselle now coming
Down.
into the bus stop chicane.
Do they get a good exit out of the final corner to get a good lap time in? Previously 5.5 seconds, now down to 4.5 seconds.
A second of improvement.
That's...
Marius Issinger just around the first hairpin there. I don't think he had any improvement on his last lap. Now Mathis Boschier around the bus stop chicane. Across the finish line, can he improve his time? And not. Same for Vixie Brice. He is on track for an improvement though.
Up to
and
P10.
He does. Solid. But still, as a second between Wesley and Micha Newcoop. That is a pretty substantial gap there.
6 minutes
I don't
left
know
in
now.
qualifying, and no one's come close to rivaling Lee on that lap on any of, and that Lexus is flying so far.
No one has
We're
even
now
topped his previously fastest lap.
and going through Blanchimont, go into the heavy braking for the chicane. Looks pretty good, able to get the late apex required. As long as the grip is there, should be able to get a pretty good lap into second place, just about overtaking
Second
Newcomb.
place.
Still a
That is
1.3 behind Wesley.
That is barely ahead of Michael Newcomb here, but yeah, Wesley, no one can top that time at the moment. No one is even coming close to his previously fastest time of 2:17.2. So
Yeah,
there's still
half a second off of the first lap is already a big gap, and then the second lap being way faster than that as well. It's a dire. It's dire if you want to get pole position off of that Lexus.
yeah, with just under 5 minutes on the clock for qualifying. I mean, we will see if anyone can shave off any of the top 10, can shave off seconds of their previously fastest laps. I mean, they would have to challenge Wesley here. Looking at Daniil Nevzorov in the number 54 Porsche. Fastest lap at the moment is a 2:20.45.
Currently 3
Can he
tenths
improve his
up.
time? Yeah.
So if he's able to maintain this pace, keep time rolling, he's lost a lot of time in Stavolo. It's only half a tenth ahead of their previous PB. Now through Blanchimont, only 2 corners left as the heavy braking into the last stop chicane.
I mean, he
Little
isn't
early on
really
the
on track. Yeah,
Oh.
he isn't really on track for a huge improvement anyway. Maybe 1 place. He does not improve that place. Still behind Bergholt in V14. And Rogel now on track for the huge improvement, almost 1.5 seconds. And that does put him in P13 with a 2:19.7. And Wesley van der Linden are also coming around.
Looking to make a small improvement. Crosses the line, does not seem to improve. And something to note also, Enting did manage to get a slight PB as well, getting a little bit faster, still over a second away from Wesley, but at least over a tenth ahead of third place now.
Vixie Brisha now around the Boston chicane. Oh, a little bit over the inside curb there. That's gonna cost him some time. But he does not improve. Still about 5 tenths ahead of Rogel though.
Yeah,
Comfortably
2
in
minutes.
P12.
Only 2 minutes left in qualifying. And if you start your lap now, this is your final chance to make an improvement. We're on board with Jaime Herrero. Currently almost a second up on their PB. Looking to get a 2:17, but a little bit of a bad exit on the last stop does cost a lot of time. P7 though. Not bad at all.
Oh, Julius there. The pit entry. hitting that cone there.
So, I don't like cones either.
Roger looking for a small improvement, but he would have to improve about 5/10 to get into P12 ahead of Brice, or Brice, however you want to call that. He's only improving by about 1/10 at the moment. Pretty late apex for the first corner of the chicane. I think he has a pretty high ping. And he goes across the finish line. And no improvement there. No position improvement. Velo also coming around now to start another lap. His last lap now.
Yep, 20 seconds left.
Yeah. Velo went into the pits. He was content with his P14 finish.
Pretty much
Dragon
everyone now.
lower.
If you haven't crossed the line now, you will not get another chance.
Qualifying is done now.
Yeah. It's the final laps. People are quite ahead of their previous best. Especially Issenger 6/10 ahead. Lower trying to take a lap 2 seconds ahead of the previous best. But a shaky bus stop. This seems to be a recurring issue. People are not able to gain time in that bus stop chicane.
Now looking at Toby Issenger. With his current time, he is on track for a potential P2. That would be a huge improvement from P6. About 8/10 now gained on his previously fastest lap. Also a very skilled driver. Winner of our Laguna Seca race. With an absolute domination there.
Launchman complete and
He
constantly
might
gaining time.
even-
Actually is on pace for pole position. If the exit is good, it looks to be good enough. Assuming Wesley does not improve, this will be a potential pole position. Is it not updated?
Did he leave the track?
I may have done.
That did not improve his time. But that was a really... The time was on track for a pole position, but apparently he left the track earlier, just like Darren at the Metalhead now did. Alessandro Russo also looking for a slight improvement. Netsvorov just ahead of him there. You might even get a little bit of drag out of him. Netsvorov looking for a slight improvement, just like Russo. But is it gonna be enough for Netsvorov to get a P17? .5 now.
Does manage to make P17.
And Russo managed to stay in P5. So those are our... Yeah, that's our grid. Let's count it down from the back to the front. In P22 we have Utsalo with a number 13 BMW. That is the WW team. In P21 we have Kimmich in the number 46 BMW. That is the MVP racing team. In P20 we have Ayo Julius in the number 39 Aston Martin, the only Aston Martin on the track today for AMR BR team. In P19 we have Arseniuk in the number 1 BMW M4 for DW Racing. Is going to be paired with Dragon Lower today. In P18 we have Berghold for Bergi Racing in the number 53 Porsche. Sorry, that's the number 53 Lamborghini Huracan. In P17 we have Netzvorov, no improvement. In the number 54 Porsche, that's the one. That is for IRL Idiots Racing League. quite the name. In P16 we have Bourchier. I don't know how you spell that name. I'm sorry if I misspell your name. For the number 2 BMW for PDP, also a familiar name. He is being paired with Not Raced Yet. We've also seen that name before. Not in any top positions though. In P15 we have Rogel in the number 24 Ferrari for Arco Racing. In P14 we have a Ferrari. Iconically, not in a Ferrari. He's in the 969 Porsche. He's racing for DSN Sim Racing. He's being paired with Damir Velo and Nico Benz. Damir Velo is a familiar name, but looks like he's not gonna be starting for the first stint. In P13 we have Brize in the number 12 McLaren. In P12 Manu Saki in the number 999 Ferrari. P11 Metalhead in the Ford Mustang. P10 Baru, P9 Randhava, P8 Van der Linden, P5 Herrero, P6 Issenger, P5 Haskini actually going for the first stint, P4 Hitzen, P3 Newcoat, P2 Enting and P1 Unleashen.
The lights go green as we are racing Spa Francorchamps up a rouge, should say. 3 wide looks in P5, but Enting with a good launch, able to take fast place down into Lake Hom. Leeson now gonna go for it in the inside line, able to take it in the braking zone, but a little slide, manages to hold it, manages to keep the lead. Still quite shaky as we're looking at some battles further down the grid. Henson could potentially look at a bit of a battle here with Enting for second place. Lee's gone a little bit up the roads for the time being. The green Porsche under pressure from the Ferrari behind as Henson gets a position taken away from him. Newcock gone up to P3. Metalhead down through P1 as manages to maintain 9th, Enting on the defensive from Newcock. Trying to hold this, able to keeps the line, no, doesn't go too defensive. As we run through Stavolo down the back straight.
And Wesley is actually putting quite the gap now, already 2 seconds ahead of Max Enting in P2. Luke Newcomb just behind him, and we're looking at Toby Issenger now. Right on the back of Wesley van der Linden in P6. But he is not looking to overtake him here. Makes a pretty early apex. It was looking like he would go for late apex, but yeah.
It takes a while
the
to get
right
back
idea.
out the second half of the chicane. Does get the pace, but the early defensive move from Van der Linden keeps themselves ahead.
Issenger there looked like he tried to get a wider line again to get a better exit, but I think he misjudged his turn-in point there. Had to correct his steering a little to not get into the wall on the first hairpin. And now Luke Newcomb right on the back of Max Enting. Looks like Max Enting is trying to defend that inside line. Luke Nichols goes on the outside. Can he hold back? Little contact there, I think. He goes really wide there. Just behind him now still. Very close racing from the top. Top 5 there, obviously. Wesley's pulling a huge gap right now. And a little contact there. That is Hinson out. He spun in his BMW. I think there was a little contact. Definitely something for the... Well, there definitely was contact. Something for the stewards to look at. And Hinson now has to wait for everyone to let it pass. To not get an additional...
Oh. Wow, that's a little tough. Into the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
That's amazing, but...
That was very close there from Luke Newcoop, almost touching anything.
We're definitely going to need
I
to
hope
see
we're
what
gonna...
that is.
As well as the race start. I mean...
Is still on the back of Enting, while Lee is making a bigger and bigger gap for himself.
4 seconds already. We're just into lap 1.
This is, and a lap
Yeah.
pretty much ahead. I mean, clean air and not having to defend, you just can keep just racking easy laps in. Just focus on driving, not need to focus on any other opponents. Van der Linden on the defensive against Alessandro Russo. Green Ferrari, not to my taste personally, I think. Neon green.
Yeah, not
full green, a little too much in my opinion, but
goes pretty wide there on the first turn. And a little further in the back, Matthias Bossiak. He gets a better exit, I think, than Velo in P10 there, right on the back of him.
Doesn't look like they're able to catch up to a Rouge. Past Radion Wall.
But he has to drag.
The drafting gonna have to be very effective to get that much speed all the way down the Camel Straight. Doesn't look like it's gonna happen. No set into Lake
does not go for one either. It was a pretty early apex though there. From Bush here. He obviously has Hood Salo right on his back as well. Having to try to find a gap to attack while defending is extra challenging. Switching to Toby Issinger now right on the back of Raro. Also in a neon green. That is a Porsche. He tries to go for the inside line there, but Raro shuts it. He does not want to let it pass there. Can he find a way around him there? Obviously, as we saw earlier, they're taking a wider line in the braking zone. Also has the benefit of avoiding contact. If you're braking later than your opponent, you don't want to go into the back of them. That's just gonna give you a penalty and probably take them out, if not you as well. He's right on the back now.
Sniffing the bumper, able to get that overspeed on the exit of Blanchemont. Gonna try and send around the outside into the chicane. Able to make it stick, a beautiful move from Issinger. Do they maintain the speed to keep that position? The Porsche is able to get that speed, get side by side. Once again, the attacking car is on the outside, but Toby Issinger able to keep that position.
That was a beautiful overtake there. He used his extra speed. Did not try to dive bomb Pereiro there. On the inside he was he was going defensively on the inside. Not too far on the inside. There would have been some space for Toby Issinger to try a dive bomb, but the more safe solution was to try to hang around the outside, and he did manage to do that. He got ahead before the turn in, and then still went wide. And Pereiro sliding a lot. and he has to
Luckily,
be very careful on the rejoin now, and that is
loose positions better than Hinson having to wait for the entire pack to roll through.
yeah. And Toby isn't just gonna like that. No, he's not under immediate pressure now anymore. There's a 1.4 second gap to Vanderlyn in P5 now, and now Toby isn't just has the chance to try to really put down his foot and hopefully close that gap to Enting in P3. Actually got overtook by Luke Newcock, who's now up to P6 with a 6-second gap to Wesley. Alexander Russo right on the back of Van der Linden there.
Looking at the fastest laps, Wesley is over 2 seconds faster than any car with valid fastest laps. Half a second off of Newcomb's last lap, which was invalidated due to track limits. Still a lot of pace up at the front.
And there was Van der Linden taking a lot of curb there on the inside, and Russo's moving to the inside, but he is too far back. Try anything there, both go very wide. And who gets the better exit now? It looks like Alexander Russo is a little bit of a better exit, right on the back of Van der Linden now. And then it goes very much to the inside.
But only front to back. As soon as
and Russo doesn't. And we see Toby Islinger right behind them on the left there as well. So he managed to catch up a little. Obviously, wasn't really down to him driving better. More Enting and Newcock fighting. That allowed him to catch up a little. And Russo is still on the back of Van der Linden. He does not manage to pass him at the moment.
Yep. The Newcock and Enting battle, the more they lose time. Here's a replay of the race start. See a pretty equal exit, pretty equal at the front, but better.
I mean, Max Enting just on the outside there. He had more corner speed, and then we see Wesley on the inside for Lecombe, and that is Ariel Rogel spinning on the exit of I think that was Bruxelles, and yeah, that was on the curb, not that much traction. That was Herrera in the back of, I think that was Hinson, right?
That was
who spun there. Yeah, and he has received a 15-second time penalty for that collision.
Yeah, it was a pretty optimistic move. A little too late on the brakes. Caused the spin. Hinson down in 19th now after that.
Russo right on the back now of Van der Linden. Does he try a move? He goes on the outside. Van der Linden shuts the inside. So does get alongside him for the first corner of the chicane, but does not manage to secure the inside of the second one. But he's still right on the back there. Van der Linden cannot shake him. Goes to the outside again. Probably going to attempt a switch back. Break both at the same time. So now with a later apex, let's get a better exit. It looks like he is next to. Looks like he's next to Van der Linden. No, it is not. And that is Wesley in Radillon.
That's really
Does he have damage?
That's terrible.
It looks like he lost quite some time there. I mean, he had almost a 9-second gap to P2, and there was Newcock. And now a crash in Eau Rouge. And now obviously has to regain his pace on the Camel Straight. He's gonna possibly lose another position. I'm really interested if he has any damage and if that's gonna impact him. But that in the first 50 minutes of the race, that's dreadful. Obviously he has probably the pace to catch up that gap. It isn't that big of a gap.
Yeah, his best lap
Issenger.
is actually, yeah, is the fastest by about 3/10 faster than Newcroop, who is second fastest lap. So
We're
definitely
gonna
has the
have
pace
to-
catch, assuming
Yeah.
there is no damage.
And we're gonna have to see a replay of what happened to him there, because he was just in Radillon there with no speed, probably a spin in Eau Rouge. Hopefully he didn't hit the barriers. And little Alexander Russo hinted behind.
Actually did.
Yeah.
Issenger now
Issenger.
managed to be in podium positions after Wesley's spin. Half a second. Oh god, brakes way too late. Almost hits into the back of
Even
Enting.
hits the curb. I know Wesley in the back there. As far as I can tell, no damage. Maybe we can get the camera on him. I don't see damage on the front there. And no damage in the back either, so maybe we can get a replay shortly. Obi Issenger does not really manage to stay with Enting and Newcope. And we see Wesley just creeping up behind him here. Top three things you don't want to see on Spa 180. Wesley behind you in the Pommes livery, the French fry livery. So let's look at a replay now of what happened to Wesley. I'm really looking forward to this. Well, very wide in Eau Rouge there, and then it's completely spinning. Does he manage to keep it out of the barriers? It looks like he does. And now sideways in Radillon. That is very scary. It's more scary than that, but yeah, still.
Of the entrance of Eau Rouge, then into Radillon, runs the curb again on the left side.
Then a loss of traction, probably a little lift, and then the wheel spins too much, and that's what caused him to spin to the left. But he did manage to keep it out of the barrier, so with no damage except for some very hot tires probably at the moment, he should be able to catch back up.
Are there flat spots in Assetto Corsa Competizione?
I don't think so. It just heats up your tires quite a lot. So he's probably about one
stabilized.
20
tires. Yeah, I lost 12
tires
seconds.
Are probably gonna be it. Yeah.
12
That's
seconds,
a big
3
spin.
positions. A good time. Easily recoverable. There is still 2 hours 40 left. 44 even. And already on the back of Issenger. Misses the apex a little bit. Goes a little bit too wide, but still pretty close. Van der Linden also still having to defend from Russo. That fight has been going on for like 4 laps at this point.
Yeah, Van der Linden using the Robin van der Put masterclass of defending. We've seen the absolute masterclass of defending from Robin van der Put in the race 2 weeks ago in Laguna Seca. Well, Van der Linden is rivaling him, and now Wesley got a bad exit out of Radillon on the Camel Straight. Has the
top speed. Shows himself in the mirrors, but does not decide to go for a move. A bit of a shaky line from Issenger. Has a lot less speed. Wesley actually having to slow down to not cause a collision.
He will want to defend that.
Issenger around the outside.
Now.
Now the switchback. Wesley now being on the outside of No Name, and for the time being,
break again there.
Yeah, Issenger able to get
does
really
manage to hold that position.
Yeah, just about. Issenger slow on the exits, perfectly defending from Lee, having to force Lee to slow down. And that's
It
given
probably was the right decision to be on the outside of Bruchel there, get the inside line for the next turn, and he did manage to play alongside Wesley here, and
Is it smart to just let
defend that
Wesley
corner.
go? You know that he's faster than you.
That-
And if you're
that's
fighting, you
gonna be
time. So
that's gonna be a decision he has to make now. He wants to defend that next corner. I mean, Wesley already passing him around the outside here. But does Toby Issenger want to fight for that position?
It's too far back to even give it a shot.
Yeah.
Back up in the podium, that you did lose from a pretty rough spin. Well, as
A
rough
beautiful
as you
move
can
around the...
call.
Yeah.
Russo's fighting with Van der Linden. It's a battle of the ages and a defense masterclass.
There was a really beautiful move around the outside from Wesley. So there was, around the outside of Blanchimont. Velo in P14 going into the pits, yeah. I mean, the pit window opened a few minutes ago, if I'm not mistaken. Velo has a drive-through penalty, I've just been informed. And yeah, he has to serve that. Probably. You're already on lap 8, and a drive-through, you have to serve a drive-through within 3 laps. That was probably his last chance to serve it. It's gonna...
Yeah, it makes some sense that they would enter for drive-through, because the pit window opens in 2 minutes. So, wouldn't actually be able to go for a pit stop.
We only have 1 mandatory pit stop in this race, but with a max stint length of 60 minutes, you're gonna have to do at least 2 pit stops. That is a lot of damage on the front end of Max Kimmich. We just saw there in P17, but we're still focusing on Alessandro Russo and Wesley van der Linden now. They're still battling it out.
It's a large gap for Van der Linden. Russo is not going to be able to make a move into the bus stop chicane. Going to have to try and get as good of an exit into Les Source as you really can. That's your next real opportunity, this gap.
I mean, with 5/10ths of a gap, you can still do a Hail Mary dive bomb and hope that your opponent sees you in the rear view mirrors, but it's not a real strategy. That is a last lap, last corner Hail Mary attempt to get
you also
position.
Trying to do that. You dive bomb, you hit into them, and you can even end up worse than you could have been.
I mean, if they still turn in, then you're gonna hit the back of them, and that's just gonna give you a penalty. The time doesn't get you any time.
The rules have been changed. Driver time for each stint be up to 120 minutes, which means you can do a one-stop. It is actually possible.
And also going very much to the inside there. And just taking that inside curve. I mean, he's always going for a little bit of a wider lines. Obviously he wants to break the drag from Van der Linden. He does not want that in the corners. Just gonna give him traction loss. Van der Linden just very cool on his steering, very cool on his brakes, and he just stays safe and stays ahead of Russo. He's really trying there. He's even going to the outside. He has to...
Pretty much
Didn't-
perfectly bumper to bumper and a
Wasn't
much closer gap than the previous lap. Might be able to get a shot even into, if there's enough speed, which through Blanchimont should be possible, into the chicane, into a potential attempt. Okay, gonna try and send it. It's gonna be a very tough ask. It's a bump. Does pump twice
That
with
is
Van der Linden. Does manage
exactly
to
what
get
we were
it.
talking about.
It's almost as if we called him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because-
he bumped us back there.
It's
Van der Linden was
gonna be
turning in there.
investigation. It's not very
from my-
sportsmanlike. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's an up
probably
to
gonna
14th.
be a penalty.
Around it. It doesn't get it.
mean-
Tries to get a run into La Source.
On pure pace, Hinson is on track for at least a P10 top 10 finish, probably even a top 5 finish. He is currently faster than Russo. Obviously, Russo was fighting with Wesley van der Linden in the last.
Plus, there was
10
also
laps.
contact. They lost even more time on that lap for Russo.
But Hinson is definitely on track for a good position there, and I mean, we're
Still
looking at
plenty
him
of
clawing back position after that unfortunate contact.
Yeah, able to go side by side into Les Carmes, bit wide from Nevzorov, and Hinson takes the position up to P13.
Now he's
Pit
looking.
has been open for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I think. Yeah.
But this is probably
And-
too early for any driver
I think
swaps.
it's for at least probably another half an hour. Actually, maybe a bit less. And the max stint length is still an hour and a half to go until you are forced to make a pit stop. So,
I mean,
actually, half an hour is pretty.
you also have to take fuel and tire wear into consideration.
Yeah, we don't know how much fuel are running. Do we?
I mean, they did have wide some. We've had a practice server up for I think 2 days before this, so they had quite some time to practice driver swaps and think through their strategy. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously, in the actual race, a lot can happen. Hinson has experienced that in probably the most dramatic way, dropping completely to the back. And now he's looking to overtake Julius, and we see actually Nevzorov going very deep into the first corner of the bus stop chicane. Vincent does not manage to get ahead of Julius in said chicane, and Wesley right on the back of Enting now. These two have been battling before on the first lap. Little scared for Wesley going over the curb. He is definitely the best driver on the track today, or he can handle the track the best in his Lexus with the French fry livery.
Last lap was the fastest from Wesley, in 2 minutes 19.0, which is a whole 4/10 faster than second fastest, Newcoop, and 6/10 faster than Enting's fastest lap. So it's got a lot of pace. A lot of pace.
Also allowed him to catch up to Enting. Obviously, he's right on the back now. But can Enting defend him there? It can be tricky to overtake, but he has overtaken Toby Issenger in Blanchimont here around the outside. I'm gonna try to replicate that move. He does get some drag now. But Enting actually going pretty wide to defend exactly that move, and Wesley has to get a little bit off the gas there, taking the inside curb for the first and the second corner of the chicane. He does not manage to get ahead of Enting at the moment.
This could potentially give an advantage to Newcoup, who's currently in first place. At least make a bit of a gap as Enting and Lee have to sort their fighting out.
And on the last lap, Wesley was still did a 2:20.027, actually hitting the inside curb there again. That caused him to spin and drop down to 4th place a few laps earlier, so that was scary. Looks like he's struggling a bit in Eau Rouge to actually stay within the white lines. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be... Newcoup is gonna be happy about the two of them fighting around in the back. Possibly a chance for him to pull a little more of a gap and maybe extend his lead. And
yeah, so far
last lap he did not. Yeah, 3.3. Looks like he's increasing his gap at the moment, but on the last lap he did not improve a lot. Like he was not able to pull more of a gap on Wesley. They did practically the same lap time, only 2 thousandths apart from each other, and that was while Wesley was fighting with Enting. So this lap looks like Luke Newcoup was able to pull a little bit of a gap. And now Enting sliding a lot on the exit there. Which corner is that?
Wesley gets the overtake right at the end of Stavolo through the back straight.
He was waiting for that.
The timer's ticking. How long until Wesley arrives to the back of Newcoup's BMW?
Wesley
Enting
was
already
waiting for that.
The amount of speed from that just lost so much speed. Enting lost an entire second down the back straight through Blanchimont.
And his car looked pretty unstable there. He went over the outside curb and then a little bit of a traction loss and then almost spinning there. He had to save that, and Wesley was waiting for a mistake like that to pass him, since he was not able to pass him on the track. He did pass him on the track, and Breeze actually going into the pits now.
Was it to actually, or was it a drive-through? That's the question.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen a drive-through for him yet. And, I mean, we're half an hour in, a little more, so potentially he wants to switch drivers now, or his tires, or a fuel problem, whatever. There are a lot of possibilities. There are now going around a lot more speed onto the Camel Straight, and he's next to Rundhauer now, who goes very, very deep on the inside. Both are pretty careful on the brakes. Both actually going off the track on the inside of Lecombe there. And
now into Brooks.
Rundhauer does manage to...
Inside decides against it. As you see a 15-second penalty for Russo for causing a collision. I assume that's
that. Let's take another look at this. And that's what we saw on the live stream as well.
Very optimistic on the brakes. We saw this early and
bit
of a tough.
Let's take a look at it from Russo's perspective. Yeah, he was trying to go for the dive bomb to the inside, but Wesley was not expecting that move, and moved to the inside.
Back. It was.
It did look a little bit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the stewards looked at it thoroughly. I've seen a possibility for moving and braking there, but I hope the stewards took a thorough look at that. But yeah, very optimistic move by Russo, for sure. And then Wesley did not want to let him pass there, and let him get the inside line. So he closed that gap. Maybe he even didn't. Just a misjudgment how far he was back.
Extremely wide
Herrero-
for Randall. Herrera's now on the
Yeah,
back
going
of him.
very deep. And
Make a
now
run. Now side by side.
he's gonna
Herrera
try to
has
get
the
that
inside.
inside.
He's gonna have to either take the apex
Everything's-
pretty much perfectly or be in trouble with a switchback. Does nail the apex well enough. Herrera takes P8.
And Randauer actually with a little mistake again. It looked like he misjudged his turn-in point and is a challenge on that first corner. Both going over the inside curve there of Rodinho onto Camel Straight, and I think that is it for Herrera. I think Randauer is not gonna be able to pass him here, even get alongside. He does catch up a little bit. And
So-
that is Kimmich in the pits. He did have quite a lot of damage.
Stopped in the pit lane. What's going on?
I'm confused as well.
It's
It is a
drive-through.
drive-through penalty. Oh yeah, he
Stop
has.
in the pit lane.
And Bergholt also in the pits behind him in the Lamborghini. And as you see in the, yeah, as I said, Randauer probably not on pace to challenge Herrera further. Herrera does make a mistake. Randauer might be able to exploit that, but it looks like he's staying pretty safe at the moment. He probably seals the deal of that fight with a beautiful move on the first corner. Got a better exit off the bus stop chicane, then had the inside line, nailed his braking point, nailed the apex, prevented the switchback even though he went pretty wide. So Randauer did have an opportunity for a switchback there, but he did not nail the braking, and actually doesn't either in the next lap on the bus stop. So that's what allowed Herrera to even get alongside of him on the start-finish straight here. And now he just goes very deep again. Looks like he's struggling a lot on the braking for the chicane. Yeah, Herrera is going to be happy about that. Yeah, Herrera's going to be very happy about that. Almost 2-second gap between them now. He has some clean air ahead of him. And then I want to try to catch up to Metalhead. Ooh, and
It's
a
a bit
little
of
contact
in the Porsche.
Yeah, I think that is Baru
Get the-
and
But I don't know if it's able to hold it. The Porsche does have the inside line, but not far enough to actually.
he was not next to him. And actually Kimmich has retired from the race. Probably too much damage, not worth the repair. I wouldn't have done that. I mean, we still have a little less than 2.5 hours to go. A lot can happen, and of course his team is going to be disappointed about that too. And Baru now on the inside.
Does get the braking a little bit better, but can Mario get the switchback? Murasaki
No, it doesn't look like it.
still holds. It looks like this battle is going to be over. Bruxelles not able to even, not a chance, and Baru
Was
seems
pretty
to hold
wide
this.
on the inside, on the corner entry actually. And yeah, a beautiful move by Baru for sure. Moved to the inside. They were next to each other on Camel Straight, and then he moved to the inside, nailed his braking, and managed to stick it in the corner. So actually kept it on track.
I'm interested in what happened in the chicane, because there was a bit of contact there, and I want to see what happened.
Probably something for the stewards to look at. We'll see what they come back with. But yeah, we switched to them just when the contact happened. It did look like Baru was on the outside there for the first turn of the chicane, and probably.
So the bell tolls for New Coupe. Wesley a second and a half behind, and consistently able to get a few tenths out every single lap.
About 5 tenths, yeah. With a monster fast lap, a 2:18.9. But oh, Manusaki Mario just went way too wide. Probably that was too wide for a missed braking spot, braking point. Probably a brake lockup, and I want to with ABS on a higher value. That was a big lockup, and he just went completely deep and is now actually in danger from Rogel, potentially. Or is that him? Behind him?
Nah, that's a Lamborghini.
Not look like him. Yeah.
I believe that's a Lamborghini. Behind, so
that's Bergholt, who's actually a lap down from him. Since he went into the pits as well. Probably to repair some damage or to serve a penalty. So if he wants to switch to it's a penalty. It's qualified for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, that was Kimmich. They did not reply, he was disqualified. That is very unfortunate.
This is full speeding in the pit lane. That's not even like. Yeah, just full no pit limit, full speed.
Yeah, that is
just
not even a mistake. That is just a disaster. And then not even something that the stewards had to do. The game engine handles that itself. Oh, yeah. I mean, what was the top there? I saw 150 kilometers per hour. That is just absolute speeding in the pit lane, almost more than twice the speed limit. And actually, that was Bergholt going to the back of Manusaki there, and he's already in last place in P21. And that's gonna add a penalty to that. Not that big of a crash. Luckily, none of them crashed into the barrier or spun or anything, but still a very unfortunate one.
For what it looked like, they actually lost surprisingly little time.
Yeah, but they're gonna have damage.
Well, it should be pretty minor if there is damage, and
Manusaki going to the pits. It is valid now, potentially going for a driver swap. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll have to pit cam on him.
Like, gets the overtake onto Salo and manages to maintain it through Normandy, a seemingly big enough gap that Bruxelles is not going to be any different. And Lee is there. Lee is caught up to New Coupe, and it's going to be a battle for the lead.
Yeah.
There's
actually a back marker ahead of New Coupe there. So there isn't that big of a gap there. But is it not enough for Wesley to try and overtake now? They both gonna want to absolutely stick that chicane. Looked like both took it about equally. Wesley's still gaining about 5 tenths per lap on New Coupe, so I mean the pass is inevitable.
Later apex, trying to get better exit speed.
New Coupe over the curve on the inside.
Takes a bit of a different line, as now they go up Eau Rouge through Radion. Oh, it's very shaky.
Over the curve again.
Lee to save it.
There was a big scare there, yeah.
That's a bit of time lost and a bit of breathing room for New Coupe.
Yeah, but I mean that is why he did not manage to get alongside on the Camel Straight. Newcomb also sliding a lot on the exits there. I reckon they're both gonna want to go for a pit stop soon. At least Newcomb, because he is sliding quite a lot. Probably. It's a lot more stressful to Yeah.
3 tenths back into P1, trying to gain that gap into the next braking zone. It's currently 2 tenths. He is close enough to make a move. Doesn't go for it yet. It's time. Waits for a perfect opportunity. Through the Fania chicane, still able to maintain a very close gap. Now almost bumper to bumper as we go through Stavelo. Just so much pace in this thing. Just to get side by side before Blanchimont. Now, as they go through the first of 2 corners in Blanchimont, Lee still side by side does manage to make the move into the second half. Repeating race leader. Lee back in first place after a spin at Leon.
He clawed almost those places.
One as well. Managed to save it.
That didn't look that scary. But it didn't actually look that scary. I mean, it was a little bit of a scare, but obviously if you go over the curb there, your car is gonna shake a little bit. I like the delivery from Newcomb a lot. The purple. And now Newcomb actually does what Wesley did
that's
before,
bad.
but a lot more dreadful.
That's very bad into the. That's also losing a position to potentially Issinger as well. There he goes.
And Issinger, yeah. And there is Russo coming up behind him and also passing him. So he's fallen back to P5.
That's not good at all. Van der Linden.
Yeah.
He was struggling
with his
definite damage.
Yeah, a lot of damage on the front there. And I mean, he was struggling with his tires before on the exit of the corners, sliding a lot. And yeah, maybe it would have been better to go into the pits, not fight with Wesley, and Aru going into the pits as well. That's definitely gonna add another variable to Newcomb's strategy, both of the Newcomb strategy.
Yeah, you've gotta deal with this damage or spend more time repairing it. Which is the better option? Depends how much damage you've got, really. Drivable.
Does not look like too much damage, at least from the cams at the moment. So yeah, Luke is probably debating right now whether he should go into the pits now or first stint. It does look like he's still. I mean, he kept the gap to Van der Linden and actually stayed about. He's lost about 3 to 4 tenths on Russo. We obviously lost the position to him as well, but at the moment he does manage to keep the gap to Russo in P4. I'm back a lot now in Blanchimont. Yeah, he's gonna debate that.
Issinger.
He does not go for a pit stop at the moment. And Issinger is really happy about that, up to E3 now. Wesley also gonna be very happy about it. He's not gonna be challenged by Newcomb anymore. Now has 8 second gas, clean air.
Nonetheless, but Wesley definitely. You've got one less competitor to deal with. And an 8-second gap to ending. So
lower
more people in the back of the pack are pitting.
Do you think they're gonna go for a driver swap at the moment? Lower doesn't. Aura doesn't either.
If anyone has, I'll go for at least 2 sets of tires for. Oh, maybe they don't. They're just doing fuel.
Yeah, just a few, and they actually went out of the pits very close to each other. I'm not sure who was ahead, and they did actually swap drivers. Now,
Gideon
Lower
in
switched
Arsenio.
which with
Double.
Dragon Lower in DW Racing. And very close to each other now. 1/10 around Rochelle. And then Arsenio into the back of Gideon there. Luckily, no spin. He managed to save that.
It's likely to be pretty cold, even if they're not new. You've still spent much time in the pit lane to put those tires down, and it's going to take at least a lap to warm them back up as Arsenio goes wide into the entry of Q1. It falls a bit farther back from Gideon, also being leave lap.
And Metalhead has actually, I think, spun and then left the server. That is Leaders Creek racing team in the X66 Ford Mustang. I don't see them in the race anymore.
Yeah, it looks like they did indeed leave.
That is unfortunate. I mean, never desirable to leave a race with more than 2 hours remaining. Never desirable to leave a race. I mean, if you've started, you should finish. Actually, rejoin the server, so maybe there was connection problems or something like that. But and Wesley's just pulling more and more of the gap. And the penalty.
5
He breaks crossing the pit exit line.
Is it very? Oh, that was
one.
Very
There
obvious.
was a lot there. Yeah.
Not even close. I don't think
We
we
take
need
that
the stat.
very.
That was more than half the car.
Almost the full car. We take that very seriously. And that is the spin from.
Is that a replay? I'm stupid. I thought it was the second one. It was like, oh, inside of radio turn 3 there. Right curb. That's the one I've definitely spun on more than the outside one. That
Yeah, that looks like very little damage though.
luckily
That is Metalhead we're talking about. Back in the server. So yeah, possibly connection issues.
Wesley's back up to 9-second lead to second place.
But we're looking at New Coupe at the moment.
When there's no spinning, Wesley has been flying. And when there has been spinning, there's also been flying, just not so controlled.
And Russo actually going into the pits now. From P4, so that comes up Luke Newcope into P4. Probably gonna go for a driver swap. With
That's
2 hours and 8. Yeah. 2 hours and 8 minutes remaining in the race. So Russo going for probably the first driver swap for ACMG Racing. Number 5 Ferrari 296 GT3. Probably gonna switch with his teammate Graziano Paschini, and we'll see if he can extract more pace from the car, or if he's gonna fall back. It was a very solid first stint for Russo, if they're even switching. So did manage to
mandatory
Ooh.
one.
Yeah. Are they switching?
Hinton up to P7 right now after a quick spin and long wait at
Yeah, he's really
Bruxelles.
clawing back those positions. And he has such good laps at the moment, doing a 2:19.45. So those are very solid laps. Ayu Julius we are looking at right now in P9 doing 2:22s. Wesley overtaking some back markers in the small window on the right.
And Wesley is consistently being able to drive these 2-minute 18s. The only person in the race to even drive 2 minutes 18 seconds at all, everyone else has been at least a 2:19.4, it seems, is the best other than Wesley, who's done a 2-minute 18.8. And consistently being able to be over half a second faster than anyone else.
I mean, he does have to. All he has to do now is try to keep it on track. Obviously, gonna. Yeah, their pit strategy is gonna be interesting. When are they gonna switch to Dan Leishman, who's also very capable in the Lexus? But yeah. I mean, the strategy is important. Where are they gonna come out? Might be a strategy for him to try to extend the first stint by a long time. At least at the moment, probably does not make any sense to go for a pit stop, since he's just gapping. He's putting more
with this
gap to entering into P2.
Why would you make a pit stop?
Absolutely.
You are doubly half a second faster than the rest of the grid.
I mean, maybe he's running low on fuel soon, but probably not going to be worth it to switch drivers then. Another 5-second time penalty for crossing the pit exit lane. Yeah, we take that very seriously. Let's look at it. And that is and another one.
It's happened twice.
Yeah, this.
A little closer.
Gideon as well. Yeah, that is already not. You can be on the white lines, but not over it.
Yeah, it's.
But yeah, unfortunate. And two times in a row.
Ready.
Yeah, I mean, 2 times in a row for GR Racing is. It's very unfortunate. But as we were talking about Wesley, yeah, I mean, potentially he's running low on fuel at the moment, but it does not make any sense to go for a pit stop with that kind of pace. Now Seniuk now next to Horace Del Hayar in the Cardio Racing in the number 14 McLaren. And overtook him now.
Now, Delahaye having to defend from the BMW behind. Got actually a pace that had to slow down to not crash in Longchamp. Gonna have a good run. Hey, later braking for the BMW, able to make side by side a little bit of
contact.
And
A lot more contact now.
Stopped right at the end of it. That's going to be
Seniuk
the behind, actually getting ahead. The two Porsche drivers, Delahaye and Gideon, now having to fight with Seniuk slightly behind.
And Seniuk, I mean, he was on the inside for the first corner of the chicane, and then tried to hang it around the outside, but I mean, Delahaye did not want to let him pass there, and he went very deep for the second corner as well. And Gideon now on the outside there. And that is a penalty for Gideon. Those are the pit exit crosses that we saw from the replays. And now Gideon did manage to hang it around the outside and get ahead of Lalahay, and Arseniuk is gonna want to exploit that. He moves a little bit to the inside, approaching Bruxelles, but it doesn't risk it. He goes back, waiting for the two drivers ahead of him to either fight again or make a mistake. There he goes pretty wide, a little bit of a slide there.
As Arsenic may be able to capture a little bit of time from that. Another race control, 5 seconds from the pit entry. Oh,
And Arseniuk.
Well, that's pit entry.
Arseniuk lost it. We saw that Arseniuk suddenly just wasn't there anymore, and I think he lost it in Puhan there. Or it just went too wide, and then either off the track or in the barrier, so hopefully we can see what happened to him there in the replay.
Lost 13 seconds.
Yeah, he was just not there anymore. A lot of stuff happening at the same time in this race. It is insane. And Toby Isender and Luke Newcoop going to the pits at the same time now. Are they gonna get anyone gonna pass one another in the pits?
And
looking at Toby Isender in the... Yeah, Toby Isender in the picture-in-picture.
Yeah, a lot of the front runners have started pitting. Van der Linden was, I think, was the first of the front runners to pit, I believe. Was it? No. Wait, stint 25 laps? Apparently not. I remember one of them pit. I don't remember who. Was it drive-through? I think, but Enton and Lee, many tens of seconds up the road.
And since we were talking about it earlier, Uso has switched fields with his teammate Pasquini, who is in P11 at the moment.
I remembered it was a Ferrari.
Yeah, that was the first, not the first driver stop we saw, but the first from the front runners. And that is Toby Isender exiting the pits again. He's gonna want to watch out for those white lines on pit exit. It looks like he stayed safe with them.
That's Hinton up to P5. Of course, hasn't pitted yet, but a wonderful
Toby Isender down to P8. Luke Newcoop coming out behind him in P9. Still ahead of Pasquini in P10 though. Bussier also went to the pits down to P12 now.
And Hinton on the back of McLaren Randawa has to make an evasive maneuver.
Both of the brother teams have actually switched drivers, so now Toby Isender has switched with his brother Marius, and Luke Newcoop has switched with Michael Newcoop. So some more driver swaps, and Hinton also going to the pits, potentially to switch seats with one of his teammates. He has two, Florian Kaiser and Alexander Feige, and we will see another driver swap. Just leave Van der Linden going to the pits.
And then immediately decides to go into the pit lane.
Yeah.
Not really necessary overtake then, but...
And Randhauer up into P3.
The entire podium has not been in the pits yet. And that's gonna be an interesting scenario of how long do they stay out.
The difference between them though is Wesley is more than a minute ahead of Randhauer in P3. Yeah, obviously how much you do in the pit is also be substantial. I mean, if you have to repair damage, that's gonna cost you quite some time. Changing tires at least 30 seconds, at least 30 seconds. Refueling also some seconds.
Another fastest lap in the last time, just before the lap that it just completed, in 2 minutes 18.76. Quick reminder, no one has done a 218 other than Lee, and so it's not even close. Just consistently, clearly the tires are not the problem. If definitely having negative degradation, meaning that the tires are degrading slower than you are losing fuel, which means you are still increasing in pace.
He just has to stay focused now. Not replicate his previous mistake that put him down into P4. And luckily, he was very lucky to not have picked up damage there, like Luke Newcook did a few laps later. A very similar move.
I mean, if Lee is gonna have that happen again, and loses 12 seconds again, they'd still be in first.
Yeah. At the moment. I mean, he could lose... He could lose a lot more time than 12 seconds. So he was pretty...
Much true. There's a spin. I think that's...
That's the Lamborghini. That's the Lamborghini from Berg called Bergi Racing. And
just before Blanchimont. It's not a good spin to have, especially that early into the straight. Back straight, that's a lot of time. Entering into the pits.
that is run
My mistake. We're currently looking at entering on the big screen. With back marker, I believe, behind. Julius is the third place in the Aston Martin. I believe the only Aston Martin in the lobby. Wesley in the pits. That is a very important time, and Enting probably going to be pitting pretty soon. We're going to see if there's going to be a drive.
I'm a little confused because he was still doing very good laps.
Must be just low on fuel. That's my expectation.
Yeah, probably. Do you think then he's gonna switch seats with Dan Legion?
So, Julius is currently in third. Although they have not pitted, they did start in 20th. So, 17 places up right now. After the pit stop, it'll probably exit around 6th-ish, about 6th. So, still a really, really good run from Julius. Especially with the fact that
come out.
The best lap time is 2 minutes 21 for Julius. Like, the lap time's not even been that impressive.
But he's that just highlights the importance of keeping it clean. I don't think he had any major incidents. So that's just keeping it clean and keeping it safe. Even if you're not the fastest driver, you can still get a pretty good finishing position. Wesley coming out of the pits just behind Julius there. 1 second. And he's not going to be happy about it. He did not switch drivers. Little Wesley. Never mind. There was just an overlay. It was just an overlay issue. He did switch seats with Dan Legion and is now in P3 behind Caio Julius. Now Dan Legion is gonna have to show us what he can do with the Lexus. first challenge is going to be to overtake Julius, or he could elect to just stay behind him and wait for Julius to go into the pits.
Considering the
There's
pace
a-
difference, I don't think waiting for Julius to pit is a very good idea. Unless
I mean, I
Lee
would.
was faster in that Lexus.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably wait to see if he pits on this lap before trying any risky moves on him. But yeah, with the pace difference, it wouldn't make sense, obviously, to stay behind him for more than 2 laps. But yeah, at the moment, probably not going to be worth a risky move, except if Julius invites him to overtake him, and it looks like he does. Just let him pass here.
Yeah,
Perfectly
no,
fine.
doesn't have the pace. Let's
Yeah, perfectly fine
through.
strategy to just let him pass here. Does not make sense to. Oh, it goes very wide on the first chicane. Does not make any sense there.
You see
It
Ferrari
does-
going to.
Yeah, but it does not make any sense for Julius at the moment to fight with Leishan. 3-second pace difference each lap, and I mean, he would just lose even more time trying to defend someone who you shouldn't be fighting with anyway. So Leishan gonna be happy about that. Now he has some clean air, only some back markers ahead of him who should let him pass. And yeah, he will want to close the gap to Enting more. And Leishan with a 3:46 on the last lap. Obviously that also have to count into it the pit stop. It looks like that was a fairly short pit stop, about a minute.
Entering the pits. It's quite an interesting scenario. Where will they end up? Should be still in second. Actually, no. Should be just behind. Should be behind Julius if the Lexus of Leeson came out behind the Aston Martin of Julius. It should be the same for Enting.
You will want to come out ahead of Marius Issenger though, and probably will be able to.
Yeah, considering there's a
pit stop
25-second gap, it should be pretty easy.
I mean,
Was
it's
what, like-
currently 1 minute and 15 seconds. He is going into the pits. Currently 1 minute and 15 seconds between him and Marius Issenger, and
Before-
is actually pretty much on the back of Marius Issenger, but
Yeah, before Lee went into the pits, was ahead of Enting by like 13-ish seconds,
yeah.
and came out 1 second behind Julius. So if there's a 25-second gap between Julius and Issenger, should be able to slot in there perfectly.
And then Leishan is now regaining the race lead. Yeah.
Up back into first place.
And also got back the fastest lap on the last lap. Nuku held that award for 1 lap. A 15-second time penalty for Kaiser for pushing a driver off the track. Let's look at what happened here.
Oh,
That
that's
is a contact
tough.
that actually.
holds way too much speed through Stavelo. Just completely understeers. Actually looks like reduced steering
Yeah,
a
that
little
was-
bit. That did
Yeah,
not look
and
certain.
it was on Artem Astic. That actually was way more disadvantageous for Kaiser there. He spun himself and then got a penalty added to that time loss from the spin. That is very unfortunate for him. And Michael Newcoop now right behind Isinger. Both of their brothers have been fighting before. It was a little wider through Michelle. Five-second time penalty for Brize for crossing the pit exit lane. That is probably the most common penalty handed out during this race. Ooh, and a little scare with one of the back markers there.
It's definitely
the
the
back of Michael Newcoop.
Error, as Isinger able to make a little bit of a gap through P1, and 7/10's gonna have to be held dearly to keep this position. Newcoop trying to catch and reel Isinger in. Still 7/10 as we exit Stavolo and go down the back straight. 5/10 as we are entering Blanchimont, and a lot of potential speed could mean a bit of a send into the bus stop chicane. Looks a little too far back. Does not decide to go. Potentially tries to get a good exit to hold it around into the source. Gap's definitely smaller than it has been before, and with enough speed could potentially try and go up the inside. Decides once again against it,
and a contact there
into Isinger.
It almost looked like they were. It almost looked like they were standing on the track. That looked so slow. So definitely a tricky situation for the stewards, since, I mean, obviously Newcoop has to make sure he doesn't hit Isinger. They're next to each other now on the Cam straight, but if Isinger just breaks too early or breaks too much, then that would be a brake check. So stewards gonna have to look at that very cautiously. And now a brilliant move by Marius Isinger, who stayed on the inside for the first corner there, and then around the outside of Michael Newcoop on the next one. And he does manage to stay ahead now into Bruxelles. Yeah, pulling a little bit of a gap now again. Intense again. That was a brilliant move there. It's completely cool. Stuck the braking point for the first turn there, and then around the outside of the second one. So he was really confident with his traction there.
Yeah, Newcoop still back half a second behind Isinger. Definitely able to make up this gap. If any mistake occurs, Isinger will be eventually flown by. The BMW gonna have the pace. Speaking of having the pace, Leeson managed to get a 2 minutes 17.75. Absolute insanely fast lap.
Completely flying.
Yeah, and second lap was just now was 2 minutes 18.3, which is a decent bit slower, but still 3/10 faster than anyone else on the road.
And Enting has actually switched seats with his teammate Epi Jongman, and they did come out in P2 after Julius has pitted as well, and is now down to P9. Still a very, very good position for him from starting from P20. And yeah, I mean, Enting has switched seats with his teammate now.
Newcoop is
they're in second.
Move into Lacombe.
Yeah.
Just decides to go around the outside. A defensive move from Isinger. Stays in the middle. Later break for Newcoop. Slightly too late. Gets
Little
really
touch
far.
there.
Contact does get the move, but it was a little bit of barging out the way. Isinger down to P4. Not gonna like that move at all, that's for sure.
He tried to replicate his move from last lap, just going around the outside of the second corner of Le Comte there. But yeah, New Coupe just with too much speed into the second turn and then hit the side of Islinger a little bit. But from what I saw there, it did not look like a contact that would be worthy of a penalty. But that's something for the stewards to decide. And we're looking at Appy Jongman right now with a beautiful custom livery, the TMT Racing livery. And Maurice Islinger, we see a little bit of scratched paint on his left side there. Well, it actually looks more like dirt. And he is within 1 second of New Coupe. But obviously he would have wanted to keep that position and replicate his move from last lap, but he did not manage to do that.
Bit of a gap made for New Coupe, enough to at least be a little bit comfortable for the next lap or so. Pretty much a second, that's definitely enough to feel a little bit of relax. But it's still only a second and far up the road from second or first. Budak very, very shaky on Radeon. That could have gone extremely badly. Luckily managed to save it. Probably loses a bit of time in the process. And
yeah, Radeon has been quite the front runner killer this race. We've seen Wesley, the teammate of Dan Leishon, spin after hitting the curb, and the brother of Michael Newcoop, who's currently in P3 as well, also after hitting the curb in Radeon and then just spinning out and hitting the barrier. Wesley luckily did not hit the barrier, but 2 front runners spinning in Radeon, so it is quite the difficult corner and quite prime spot for mistakes. Everyone is gonna want to be very careful there. And
there's been spins from the top front runners, but not back markers, or it was just not.
Yeah, maybe we haven't seen it. We will see later in some race highlights, hopefully, if someone spun there. We actually have a replay now on the move from New Coupe on Islinger. So let's take a closer look again. Basically the same setup as the lap before. Michael New Coupe just gets alongside Islinger in the braking zone after the camel straight, but then actually goes a little too wide and goes over the curb there, and then just too much speed into the second turn, and Maurice Islinger just too confident there, went too far to the inside. It would have been safe if he just left a little more space. Obviously the space was okay, but
I think that was a
have enough space. Yeah,
I
definitely a racing incident in my opinion also, but
yeah, I
Maurice
feel like
Islinger will not be happy about it.
Kind of turned in like that, as if there was more room, but there wasn't. It's kind of just a little bit of both at fault. So I think there shouldn't be a penalty.
Definitely just an incident.
Breeze.
5 seconds.
Fifth time I've seen this penalty.
I was just wondering, he probably racked up at least 20 seconds of 5-second time penalties for crossing the pit entry line. I'm actually wondering how often and he's again in the pits, so yeah, unfortunate. But
I think for crossing the pit lane you should just get a drive-through, just you messed it up, do it again, show you can.
I mean,
Obviously, it's too strict for something
we're
like
using the same, yeah, we're using the same penalty code as in F1. We've seen that weeks ago. From Max Verstappen off, we got a 5-second time penalty. There was barely any. He was barely over there, but I mean, we've seen
rules are rules.
cars almost the whole car over the line. No, not raced yet. Right on the back of Arseniuk, and Reese has actually left the server. Unfortunate. After almost 30 seconds, or maybe even 30 seconds of 5-second time penalties, he does not want to attempt the pit exit again. And Dan Leishan with a move on, I think that looked like Julius again. Is he already? Yeah, he's already lapped again.
It's a lap on after
Leishan already lapping the top 10 runners. So an absolute show of domination.
Yeah, isn't just
Marius
on the
is
back.
still
It's still a close
prime
battle.
spot for, yeah. The prime spot for those two battling it out has been in Lecombe, which they are approaching now.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
too
Marius
far.
is just
Gonna be able to send anything, and just trying to keep this pace.
little spin on the exit actually.
Yeah, it's now looks like it should be a good battle shortly, but the gap's actually gone up to a second in through Lake Common Bruxelles. Messenger gonna have to take risky lines if he wants to catch up. A little shaky on in the middle of Puan. It looked the gap is just not going down, it's going up if anything.
And Torres Delahaye actually, I think that is, no, those are just front runners behind them, I think. But yeah, Torres Delahaye right on the back of Brandhauer there in the green. And who is that right next to him? He just passed him up. That is Astic in P7 who passed him over the white lines, so not really a legal move, obviously. Ooh, and a big crash now.
That's a big.
And Kaiser actually managed to navigate that well, but yeah, I mean Aztec. It is probably on Run Tower, that contact, but Delahaye actually gonna be quite glad about that, since that allowed him to pass Run Tower. But yeah, there was
as well.
A big crash.
Ignoring
5-second
visual
time
cue.
penalty for ignoring blue flags. And yeah, it was a big crash. I mean, it did look like a bit of moving and a braking from Aztec for me, so the stewards are gonna obviously take a look at it and come back with a result, but
And we definitely
big
need
crash. And
that was
also on the pass from Aztec and Kaiser, who actually managed to navigate that crash pretty well. Now spun in, where is that? I think that is,
that's just before Stavalo.
yeah, in campus, right?
Yeah.
And Leishan, no, he's actually lapped all of them twice. I'm just saying really safe, but
Everyone up to peace.
As I've said before, Aztec has also passed Randhauer and Delahaye illegally over the track. Even under blue flags you can't do that. So a lot for the stewards to unravel here. It's not just, yeah.
Julius now looking to believe. Is that getting lapped, I think? Or is lapping? I can't tell which McLaren that is.
I think that is the McLaren from Wikström. So he is lapping him.
He's directly ahead.
Yeah,
So
directly ahead of him. Ooh, a little very scary there. Almost replicating the move from Lishan and Nuku. Yeah, the curbs in Rouge and Radio are very tricky and very unforgiving. You can mess up really quickly there.
A whole corner complex, extremely daunting, that's for sure. 40-meter elevation changes, pretty significant. Seems like Kaiser has spun again, looking at the timing, and
yeah, he's just picking up speed again.
more damage.
That is Lecombe. And that is Lecombe going down to Buchel now. Doesn't look like a lot of damage though, yeah.
So far.
Definitely not good, yeah. I mean, he's lost 6 positions. He qualified in P4, and now, well, his teammate qualified in P4. Now he is fallen down to EN. And actually, the biggest, the driver who gained the most positions is Astic in P7, who we've seen involved in the crash just one lap ago. He's gained 15 positions, so from P22 to P7. Right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Julius also up 12 positions as...
And Arseniuk actually...
It looked like they... I don't know, maybe a bit of lag. And
yeah, it looks like...
Still a long way to go.
Ooh, that was very close there. That was very close there with Wikström. And we've actually just crossed the halfway mark. So, yeah, it feels like we've... I mean, this race feels like we've seen everything already. But we are only halfway through just now. Oh, it's only gonna get more intense here from now on. Also, the sun is setting, gonna get dark pretty quickly from now on. But I think we don't have any rain coming up at the moment. And a drive-through for Rantava for that collision. So let's take another look at it. Yeah, just...
Right, too late.
This looked like... Yeah, this looked like... Astic just put himself in front of him there. But then he braked too late and then, yeah, big collision.
It went on the throttle, actually.
He did not expect Astic to suddenly be in front of him there. But then, I mean, that's just then terrible. Nothing for Delahaye to do then. And Kaiser just avoiding all of them. But, yeah, I mean, Astic braking on the apex there. Questionable move. Would be considered a brake check, but Rantava was actually on the throttle. And there's just a terrible reaction time from Astic going in front of him and him then going onto the throttle while Astic is braking. In my opinion, both drivers have are at fault. But yeah, I mean, apparently the stewards have decided that this is on Rantava.
I think I think I agree with the steward's decision now. I think it went on throttle and just BMW took the standard racing line, didn't take any weird line.
You have to consider though that all of them were pretty careful on their brakes, so Rantava was much slower than usual in that corner. So probably just wanted to stay ahead of Gallagher going through the corner, then just didn't expect Aztec to suddenly be in front of him on the curb, on the apex, and then just brake. And it didn't look to me like Aztec had to brake. A lot of damage on that Ferrari.
That's
oh my god.
He banged up.
Queen Lawn. That is.
Is there even left on that Ferrari?
That is the Carco Racing Team, the number 24 Ferrari, with his teammate Ariel Rogel, who we've seen before. Yeah, that looks like a lot of damage. I'm interested in what caused that damage.
Leeson is easily in first still, but Newcoop actually has been catching to second place and has made a 6-second gap to Issenger, so able to maintain that pace, could potentially see a battle for second place. Still 40 seconds up the road from Leeson. Doesn't look like much is going to change from that unless a massive impact or something.
You're gonna put the commentator's curse on him.
It'll be fun.
If you don't, it has not been fun. I put that on Newcoop before in the on the 2-hour race on the Nürburgring a few weeks back. He was also like a minute ahead or something, but then just 2 big crashes on the last lap, and that actually caused him to lose the position to Marcy Bella. Very unfortunate, and I'm still sorry about that. So don't do the same thing to Leeson now.
Where's the
Effie Jongin. Obviously, Effie Jongin would be very happy about a spin from Leeson, but
That's
I mean, so far Leeson looks very much in control, consistently doing insane laps, but it looks like he's very consistent on them. Also, his best lap time is a second faster than the ones he's currently doing. So it's probably staying safe, but I mean, his safe laps are still faster than anyone else's. So
yeah, like I don't think being 40 seconds up the road, you really have to push at all. So why even? You know, just put in some slightly safer laps, which are still faster somehow, and it should.
A 30-second time penalty for Asenyuk for an unsafe rejoin. I think we've seen that before. I'm not completely sure if that was what we saw in the bus stop chicane with someone rejoining and going into the pits. I mean, we've seen a few minutes ago someone on the bus stop chicane or went deep and then waited and then went into the pits and barely managed to avoid someone else. So I'm pretty sure that was Asenyuk, but 30-second time penalty, it's a significant time penalty. And another 5 seconds added to that for crossing the pit exit lane. Very unfortunate.
Rough for Asenyuk. 35 seconds penalty. Not great at all. Budak within pretty much a second of Issenger now. Potentially a battle for P4 with the 2 Ferraris. Another race control with 5 seconds for crossing the exit line for lower.
I think, yeah, that is the same team. That is Asenyuk's team. The DW Racing team, the number 1 BMW. I think there was Asenyuk crossing the pit exit lane on the pit entry, and then lower after another driver swap, crossing it on the exit. Unfortunate. Gideon actually in the pits right now. And another 5-second time penalty for Rantauer. That is definitely... I need a counter of how many we have had here.
It's been so many pit lane penalties. Delahaye, a second behind, the second driver of that Aston Martin.
Which with Kyle Julius. Ooh, and Delahaye almost losing it here. And that is Bergholt right behind them, but he is a lap down from them. So he is, technically he is behind him, but he is a lap down, and we have seen 13 5-second time penalties for crossing the pit exit lane. So yeah, substantial amount for sure. If you add that up, that is more than a minute of time penalties handed out.
65 seconds of crossing the pit lane. That's quite a lot. That is quite a lot. And don't forget, there's still an hour left. That can be like double this.
Yeah. Yeah. And Delahaye now probably gonna want to attempt an overtake on Eno. He actually had to let off the gas a little bit in Blanchimont. And he's too far behind now, I think. Ooh, but Eno goes very, very deep. Delahaye plans for him now to overtake. He goes very deep on the second corner as well. And he is ahead now on the start-finish straight. And I think Eno just lets him go.
Yeah, it was a drag in the race. Turn 1.
Yeah.
And Eno does not win that. More of an inside line does cost you a lot of exit speed.
I mean, Aston Martin is a very interesting pick for sure in general on Spa. The only one. Oh, and he actually clipped the barrier there we saw in the back. And that might be a lot of damage. And that is, the prime spot for mistakes. We've talked about it earlier. Rouge and Radio are very tricky, especially with the Aston Martin. I just wanted to talk about it. It tends to understeer in fast corners, so, and Rouge and Radio are definitely fast corners, and that looked like a lot of understeer, and that sent him into the barrier on the right in Radio. Hopefully not too much damage, but 4-second gap now to Delahaye, and the gap is climbing. I think that is some damage.
Looks like it gained 0.4 of a second from cutting Radion quite bad, actually.
Yeah.
It was like 0.2 seconds. 0.8.
Yeah. Delahaye now right on the back of not raced yet, and flips the back of him a little bit, goes off the track, moves to the outside for the next turn. Ooh, that's really close racing. Now
Delahaye's gotta have the draft advantage, able to slipstream the car ahead, potentially make an overtake onto Yat. It's a little bit of a large gap. Blanchimont. So,
but not raced yet, actually goes over the grass there on the inside of Blanchimont. And we will have to see if he gets the overtake there later. We're looking at Budak and Marius Issinger now. Marius Issinger, after losing that position to Newcoop, has actually lost 8 seconds on him. And is now under danger from Budak. They're going through Blanchimont now. And we see in the picture on the bottom right, Delahaye had passed, not raced yet, but not raced yet is ahead again through Rouge and Radignan. They both stick it and are now onto the camel straight, while meanwhile Budak does not get ahead of Marius Issinger.
No position changes in either of these fights so far. Pace of the car ahead a little too much, especially in the corners that matter. Budak does still have a chance to make a move into Laycom, especially with potentially a good exit out of Radion. Looks pretty good, but it's gonna be a little too far. 0.7 at the start of the Camel straight. It's not gonna be close at all to make a move.
We actually just saw in the picture. Yeah, we just saw in the picture down there. Delahaye did manage to pass Not Raced Yet in Rochelle. And yeah, he just went way too wide, and Inu also managed to pass him. So yeah, Not Raced Yet, losing 2 positions, and Delahaye up to P10.
Got 2 Porsches, 3 BMWs, 3 Ferraris, a McLaren, and a Lexus in the top 10. Leeson holding a 44-second gap. They're not even going anywhere near the best pace that they have had throughout this race, and still consistently time on the opposition. New Coupe very much catching up to Zhongman. 2.8 seconds so far. Considering that was, I think, around 10 seconds previously. Could be seeing battle between 2 podium positions. Budak still just holding on just a little bit too far from Issenger to make a move.
Yeah,
Just
that is
hovering
too
around.
far.
Not enough.
Too far behind
and shaky move
And
on.
I mean, as you've said before, Sidian, I mean, Leeson just completely driving away with this. He's not anywhere near his fastest lap times. About a second lower, but I mean, he does not have to push. He has a very comfortable lead, and Newcomb is catching up a little on Zhongman, and is actually, I mean, Newcomb is doing about the same times as Leeson at the moment. A little gap between them, about 0.3 on the last lap, but yeah, he's almost a second faster than Happy Zhongman on each lap, and you can actually see the gap that Newcomb caught up. If we're looking at the gap between him and Issenger, almost 10 seconds now, and Issenger's doing about the same lap times as Zhongman. So yeah, after Newcomb got Issenger, he just got up to Zhongman, who's doing about the same lap times. Obviously Issenger now also struggling to defend, well, not struggling, but he has to defend from Budak behind, so that's gonna add some time to his lap time as well. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy
think-
how a second slower than like your regular pace, like your fastest pace is still half a second faster than the rest of the grid.
Yeah, almost the rest of the grid. Newcomb is doing is
That is true.
about as fast as him, and that is while navigating traffic. And we see in the back there behind Happy Zhongman, Newcomb just creeping up 10th by 10th.
An hour 13 left, and a dominant performance from the Lexus so far. Only one time where there was any issues, as Issenger entering the pits, it seems.
We're
They're
definitely going
gonna
for a two-stop strategy here. Probably. I mean, do you think they're going for another pit stop? Gideon?
I don't think they'd go for 3. I think 2 is probably the expected.
I mean, they stopped at about the 2-hour mark, and now with about 1 hour and 10 minutes remaining, so probably just fuel management. I mean, Dan Leishman, do you think he's gonna extend his stint to the end of the race?
I think it's gonna be tough. I don't think I don't think any team has enough fuel to do that, really.
I mean, you need a
'Cause-
lot.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a 2-stop for pretty much every team. Honestly, actually, now that I think about it, Islinger might actually do a 3-stop. There might be.
I mean, I hope that I'm thinking if they practiced how fast they can go with each level of fuel, you might want to go for a lower level of fuel, but then he'd obviously have to drive that delta, catch up that delta on his lap times. So
it was about like 80-ish seconds, I think, for a pit stop. Obviously depends on how much fuel you're putting in, and if you're doing any repairs, which I believe pretty much every top team doesn't have any repairs to do. If anything, new coupe from the slight hit, but we saw that it was pretty much nothing.
yeah.
So let's say around 80 or so seconds for a pit stop. That's Can you make that up with with less fuel being put into the car?
Probably not, because you'd have to shut like 2 seconds per lap. So yeah, probably going for... I mean, they switched again. Maybe just Toby wanted to drive again, or Marius was done. And Toby did... It looked like Toby was able to do some faster lap times.
Yeah, also, that is very good for Budak, as it was stuck behind Islinger this entire time. Finally getting some clean air, able to put some good laps in. So, definitely beneficial for the opponent Ferrari, actually. Islinger is at least in clean air as well, so it's not bad for them.
So far, yeah.
Defending less and no traffic. Well, except for maybe some back markers.
They can be quite the problem as well. We've seen that from S6 before.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, also, just to show that absolute dominance, Dan Leishman has lapped everyone except for the top 5, so for the 4 drivers behind him. So, yeah, just absolutely driving away with this. Our production lead, Jimmy, the son of Longman, we see in front of Newcoop here, actually predicted. Yeah, he said, yeah, the Leishman and Wesley are probably gonna drive away with this, and he stands to be corrected. So for now, it looks like
it would be such a shame if a back marker hit into the leaders of the race and made this more interesting.
Don't put the curse on them. I can feel you chanting.
No.
The Newcoop has actually
catch up to second place.
Yeah. We actually see the lights now burning up. The sun is going down. We'll have about an hour of night racing, actually. Depends how quickly the sun is going down now. Not raced yet, also in the pits. Down to P12. With the Newcoop now, he catched up to about a second behind P2. It doesn't look like he can really close that last second of a gap at the moment. He was faster in the second and third sector on all previous laps. We see that right now he is gaining quite some time right now. 3/10 now in the last 2 corners.
Through Puan, able to make a little bit more, another 10th or so. And now with 6/10, you are in proper striking range for a bit of a move down the back straight into the chicane and potentially even La Source and Lake Arm. That's the main 3 places we've seen moves. Long straight, hard braking. It's all you expect for good overtaking place.
Do you think he's gonna go for a dive bomb on the
I
stop
don't.
chicane?
I don't think so.
Really
I mean,
back,
7/10.
Let's see now.
Gonna have to
Yeah,
try and get on it.
no shot from there. Look, those corners really well.
Mm.
Then we should actually.
Slow down them both again. So
Yeah.
it's just gonna get even larger gap. It's already 50 seconds, and it's gonna be even more than that as these 2 squabble. But importantly, they squabble with some back markers to deal with. I think I saw as we're now looking at Leeson, the race leader. There are 3 people back right in front of the second.
And that looks like at least the last car of those is Wikström in P16. Yeah. Yeah, that is the Aston Martin from Eno in P11 and the McLaren from Wikström in P16. So those 2 are also battling it out. Or not, they shouldn't be. That is Pasquini going to the pits now.
It's
Number 5 Ferrari. Do you think it's gonna switch back to Rosso again?
I think it's probably likely. I think.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna happen. New Coupe is pretty close to 2nd place to the McLaren with John Mann. Some back markers.
It's a really difficult situation now for John Mann. Having to navigate the back markers while defending. But he actually managed to pass Eno now.
Actually, is now.
Yeah. Now he's ahead and now.
Through Blunt.
It was pretty close.
Yeah, you're gonna lose a bit of time through Blanchimont, and
it was pretty wide there.
Definitely a troublesome scenario as actually kind of looked like a little bit like they were gonna try and unlap themselves.
But lapping yourself after just being lapped, not really something I would try.
Headlights turned on as we're gonna be going into a much darker race.
It's like a powerful race, yeah.
Just over half a second in that. Now over 1.5 seconds behind.
I'm getting a little room to breathe. Still a back marker in front of him, and I think that is Rantava. If I'm not mistaken. That is Asik in P6. Oh. I mean, even 2nd, 3rd place are lapping 6th place now. Oh yeah, I mean, that is classic Spa. A pretty long track, but how much skill difference that. I mean, you're even gonna see P2 lapping P6 here.
Russo did indeed get swapped in the number 5 Ferrari.
And Jongman actually Passing Aztec now. And that is just ahead of Stavelot now. Just passing Stavelot. And he's gonna be very happy to have Aztec now between him and Newcoup. But Aztec actually goes pretty wide and slows down to let Newcoup pass.
Baru and Issenger have both also gone on the board in 2 minutes 18. Once again, Leeson, the only person to do a 2 minutes 17. Next best is
Inhumane.
yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal. The next best is a 2:18.6 by Newcoup.
So almost qualifying level times. And Newcoup has actually gone into the pits now. Do you think he'll switch back to his brother again? We've seen that
it's
from...
so far everyone who's pitted a second time has swapped back.
Yeah.
So
It
I
does
don't
take
see
a lot
him
more time than just refueling though.
especially considering how close they were to Jungman, there is a good chance they maybe don't swap to try and get a undercut. Because if you just
If Jungman even pits again, of course they will want to come out ahead of Issenger. They don't want to be stuck behind him. And we have another replay we can take a look at.
What's
That
this?
is Eno going very wide.
There's no
Just completely ahead. That didn't look like a disconnection.
Yeah, I think the wheel just
stuck in
disconnected.
fourth gear, just slowing down, wheel disconnection, and just completely straight into the barrier. And I think that was in Stavelot.
Wow, that's
Very unfortunate. And now they're down to P18, last place. And we just crossed the 1 hour mark, so only 1 hour to go. Sun is setting. Probably about 30 to 40 minutes of racing in the darkness. Another variable.
yeah,
And yeah, very unfortunate for...
pretty much. It's actually
also
been
very
very
unfortunate for...
Leeson on lap 51 as we speak in 2 hours, so pretty much exactly 25 laps per hour.
And yeah, 52 seconds ahead now almost. Crazy times.
Newcoup only dropped to 4th. And
That's what they wanted to do. 20 seconds ahead of Issenger now. And I think Aztec went into the barrier or something. He just got overtaken by Kaiser. Yeah, just... Oh, that's in the bus stop chicane. No, that was the first turn, actually. Yeah.
That's tough.
What happened there? Did we get a replay? But that,
With a slight
that cost him...
your rear tires pretty easily.
Yeah. And he lost one position to Kaiser. Now up to P6.
Russo in P8. A whole 11 seconds behind Aztec. And pretty lonely race for that Ferrari right now.
And by the way, Newcoup did not switch driver again. So they simply refueled. They are actually losing a little bit of time on Toby Issenger at the moment, but we'll come back to that later once it gets relevant. We're on board with Russo here. He's catching up a little bit on Aztec. Do you think Aztec has damage? I didn't really see anything in the picture-in-picture. There might be
I think
some
has been
front-end
involved in
damage.
incidents, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't count it out for they're not.
Let's take a look at what happened to him, what caused him to spin there. I think... Yeah, that's what you were talking about, just... Yeah, just... Too much throttle, and then no traction. I mean, probably...
Can be a little scary. Tries to save it, snaps back.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a
overcorrected. I can't see what TC he's in there, but
good
probably too
wall
low.
though.
Yeah, too low. TC probably was on the throttle before, while going over the curb, and he's struggling to even take the corner there. Same corner that he lost the position last lap, and Russo is catching up by a lot at the moment. That spin cost him 20 seconds. Very substantial. Going over the curb on Red Lyon. Then Legion just chilling. 52 seconds ahead. Probably has his feet on the... at the windshield. Snacking on some French fries. Once on his livery. I mean, for a while he was doing low 219s.
I need to eat.
For a while he again now doing low 2 minute and 19s. The last lap one for this one, he did a 118.8. Yeah, still how much faster than almost anyone else. Budak, Jungman and Newcoop actually, and Issenger actually doing some better times now, but yeah, Legion is doing those times while playing safe, so he's under no pressure, no danger at the moment. If he just keeps it safe, he'll probably take the win here in Spa.
54 minutes remain, and blue flags are out. Is Jungman gonna be overtaking Eno? Could have, I believe Eno wasn't actually. I believe Eno was actually a full disconnect, not just the wheel, as the laps have reset. There's 2 laps.
Yeah, it's down to 2 laps. Maybe we can fix that. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Budak up into third place. Still,
Legion has... Yeah, and Legion has actually lapped everyone except for Jongman and Budak. So he has also lapped Newcoop at the moment. Obviously Newcoop and Issenger also went for a second pit stop, but that is just insane.
Yeah, and Leeson and Jungman were the last 2 really to go into the pit lane, so they definitely do not have to swap drivers again, as the maximum is 120 minutes.
If the fuel is enough, then if the fuel is enough, they can definitely...
Fuel?
Probably... Again, if the fuel is enough, they can probably extend the stint to the end of the race.
Yeah. very much
Kaiser
is a
also
possibility.
with
All
quite some problems now. That is in Stavelot. Kaiser losing it there. Hopefully we can see a replay of what happened to him there. But that was a lot of time lost.
there's been
And
quite a
Russo
lot of
is now
mistakes
right.
from Kaiser into the wall, but still holding on to P6, which honestly, that's with how many times we've seen Kaiser in the wall. P6 is still very good into the pit lane now. Curious if they do any
Interestingly,
repairs. Damaged
yeah, and I
car.
think they're gonna switch driver again since the third driver on their team, Alexander Feige, has not raced yet. And I think that Kaisers will probably be happy to leave the seat to him. And I hope we can get a replay of what happened to him there in Stavelot. Because when we switched back then, he was in the wall. And Jongman here behind. I think that is the Porsche from...
I think it's
Who was
Delahaye,
that?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think it was Delahaye's lime livery. No one's close to each other.
Let's
We're going to be
take-
going to the replay to see what happened.
Yeah.
Out of
Oh, yeah, way
Stavelo
too
goes
wide.
really wide.
And then just try to correct that. And overcorrected, went to the inside.
Just full
Completely
understeer.
understeering. And I think not even it didn't even look like he tried to correct onto the track there, just went into the grass and then under acceleration while his wheel was turned in, was completely lost the back there and went into the barrier on the right, so that's a lot of damage probably. Gonna cost him some time in the pits. He just got overtaken by Baru. And probably will be overtaken by Delahaye.
I think us honestly might even get out of the top 10 after this. Actually, should probably be. Delahaye's also in the pits.
But
So
I mean,
maybe
the third... We haven't seen the third driver on Kaiser Racing, on the racing
that
team. We haven't seen him at all, so I'm interested in what kind of times he can pull. He might be able to either keep their top 10 finish or get them back into the top 10. Either way, Delahaye is also in the pits now behind them. And number 14 of crossing the pit entry lane. I mean, we've seen more of the crossing the pit exit lane, but in general, those just the white lines on pit entry and exit, crossing those, we've seen more than a dozen of those penalties. Oh, and that looked like maybe another one by... Who is that in the picture? Not completely sure. That's a BMW.
Dan, first place, entering the pit lane.
Does
50
go for another pit
seconds.
stop.
Ahead of second, and
I know that Enting and Jongman are just...
like in third, around that.
He can probably catch that back up. But now, interestingly, I mean, if Jongman has enough... Another one. If Jongman has enough fuel to extend this stint to the end of the race, he will want to do that. Definitely. Since, I mean,
It's gonna be
catching
a
up 50
very
seconds
tough
is not... Yeah, definitely. But I mean, if they didn't calculate for that, they will want to look for a way to somehow extend that. I mean, lifting and coasting, switching down, eco map. There are a few strategies to extend your fuel if they don't have enough. Maybe they even have enough, then they will definitely want to extend that. And he is just passing Dan Leishan now to take the lead of the race.
A number of 5-second penalties for crossing the pit lines.
Yeah, Dan Leishan
No
is
one
definitely
is
coming.
letting the mistakes. Just keeps happening with. It's like probably around 80 seconds total now of all of those.
Michael Newcoop just through Stavelor now in a second. Yeah, he's no chance for him to catch up with Dan Leishan for sure. But he does come out in P3. 30 seconds behind Budak. And yeah, both Budak and Jongman will want to extend their fuel to go with the one-stop strategy. Another pressing the pit entry lane penalty.
Lee is back in the Lexus. That's the best pace we've seen was not from Lee, but managed to get massive lead into the fast round pit stops. Budak, it's gonna be a tough ask to. I don't think Budak's gonna be able to, although it is 30 seconds.
Yeah, in 45 minutes for 30 seconds of a gap. It is definitely doable to hold that. I mean,
It's 40 for Jongman.
It's about 20 laps. So that's
However,
about a second he has to catch up per lap. 2 seconds on Jongman if they both go for a
Budak's gone into the
strategy. Budak is
5
definitely not
seconds.
going for one. Even you see, even the yeah, definitely over that. Even the top drivers are doing the same mistake. So yeah, that is very common here.
I will say,
No one's
Jongman
really learning
has
from it.
pretty slowly. That was back to back, 2-minute 21 and then 22. So
I
that's
think
a
he is
lot
trying to extend. Yeah,
fast.
I
mean, if you are going 4 seconds a lap slower, yeah, Lee's still gonna fly past.
yeah. There's 20
So-
laps to go and 40-second gap. So he has to somehow keep that delta at 2 seconds or below, while also extending his fuel if he even wants to go for a one-stop strategy. Gonna be interesting. Newcoop. Do you think Newcoop's gonna pass Budak? We don't have a pit cam on Budak right now, but
I think it's definitely gonna happen. Oh yeah, 100%.
yeah, probably.
It's gonna be visible in top right very shortly.
Yeah,
The
Budak is
yellow
still
and is now
still immobile
dropped
there.
down to P4. That was an actual overtake for proper position. Newcoop has already done 2 stops.
It is really happening at every pit stop.
Everyone's given up. Why not?
Literally everyone is saying, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna take this 5-second time penalty for that point, yeah, for the 2/10 gain.
Honestly, we may see a lot of changes in the end just because of how many penalties have been dished out.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, at the moment, Jongman does not have a time penalty while Wesley does. So even though he's catching up by a lot every lap, 3 seconds per lap. I mean, it's not that substantial. He is catching up 3 seconds per lap, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, Isinger and Budak once again
Yeah,
combat potentially a second apart.
this is the other
different
Isinger though.
change anything. Yeah, Jungman, only person to have not hit a second time yet, as
Kaiser
Kaiser
again.
gets another vet.
And Kaiser did actually not switch seats with the driver on his team, so I'm a little confused. Probably just repaired the damage. He's down to P9, so he's still in the top 10. But we're looking at Toby Isinger and Budak right now, so let's stay focused on that battle. 1 second between them.
Black markers surrounding them. The Porsche is New Cop just got a new fastest lap for themselves. It was 2:18.4. Still, that is 2.2 seconds faster than Lee did in the previous lap, but it's still over half a second behind the fastest lap of the race.
And I mean, Lee is catching up quite a bit on Jongman every lap, while still not driving on the absolute limit. Still about a second slower than their fastest lap.
Out for a one stop.
Yeah, probably.
Just dropped the 3 for Jungman.
Yeah.
That's 5 seconds slower than Lee has done.
I mean, that's
And
gonna get
another-
interesting in a...
Line.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going by the math, if this stays about the same as it is right now, we'll probably see fighting in about 6 laps, so 20-ish minutes. And then Jungman would have to keep Lee behind for 20 minutes, while with way less fuel and way older tires. And yeah, I'm not sure though if going for another pit stop would be a smart strategy at the moment.
I think at this point you already waited too long to go for another pit stop.
Yeah.
If you Jungman, trying
You're
to
already
tough
doing-
it out till the end. It's
Yeah,
not
I think the
looking
last
good.
the last 3 laps of toughing it out just cost him so much time that going to the pits now would probably get him out behind New Coupe. It would still be a podium, but I think it's smarter to just stay ahead now, to tough that out, and maybe secure a victory, but maybe just a P2. All comes down to his fuel now. I'm certain that the time loss is due to him lifting and coasting and switching eco map to extend his fuel to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Budak has caught up to Isinger by a lot.
Gonna
Ooh,
try and make a
contact
move.
there. There was a big contact actually.
Oh,
Another contact. That might actually be an unsafe rejoin from Toby Isinger here. I think there was Baru.
as an unsafe rejoiners didn't go off track, but
Yeah, but I think that he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to go off
Definitely
track. Yeah,
and
another
crossing the
pit
pit.
exit lane. But also,
I mean,
Epi Jungman does go into the pits.
I think it's like 5 or so laps too late for
Yeah, but
going
that's
into
probably.
the lane. Lost so much time. Last lap at 2:29, although part of that was in the pit lane.
Also that. Hopefully we can see a replay of the contact again. But yeah, there was Budak just misjudging his braking point and almost, yeah, very similar to contacts we've seen before. On on von der Linden.
I think the braking point itself was fine. It was more the fact that just turned in way too late and just didn't give an opportunity for Issinger to see in the mirrors that, hey, there's someone up the inside.
Yeah.
And just
Stewards are gonna have to look at that very.
And then
Yeah, the stewards are gonna have to look at that very thoroughly. But also then, I mean, you don't have to get off track to get an unsafe rejoin, and I mean, just try to somehow spin his car around again, and then just completely went into the path of Baru. In my opinion, that might be an unsafe rejoin, but of course the stewards are gonna take a thorough look at that, and Dongman actually drops down to P3. Budak going off the track.
Wide of Issinger
apparently hit by Issinger.
That's
Dongman.
That's a very tough rivalry we're witnessing here.
Yeah.
Of
and Dongman.
Contact with two Ferraris.
These are going to the pits again for their 8th pit stop or something like that. Crazy that they're still in P13. And Happy Jongman has switched back to Max Enting, who has done faster laps than him. Definitely, he's the faster driver of the team. And
gonna have to try to make up time to reclaim second place.
Yeah, 20 seconds. On Newcoop, who has also done crazy times.
Yeah, you're looking at like 0.8 a lap,
yeah.
I think. And then also overtaking, which isn't that easy.
No,
slide on the exit. 35 minutes left. And the battle between the two Ferraris still rages on. Many contacts between the two. And as Budak gets a pretty good line through Stavolo, may be able to make a run through Blanchimont.
Went into the grass there a little bit on the inside. It looked like.
Now,
Budak's 4 tenths down. Potentially within range for a dive bomb now.
And we've seen it before. And doesn't try it this time. It's a lot of pace out of the corner, but too much action. He has to slow down not to make contact with Issinger's rear bumper.
He does get a way better exit though.
Decides not to try it once again. Gonna have to make a send into Lake Calm if he wants to overtake this lap. Issinger going up a Rouge through Radion as fast as possible. A little bit shaky from Budak, but the pace is clearly there. It's got a lot more speed than Issinger. Issinger decides to defend the inside. Budak having to go around the outside. Still has the pace. It's going to be who's safer on the brakes. A small bump of as Budak tries to sling around the outside. It then becomes the inside into the next corner of Lake Calm. Issinger still holding that line through Malmedy, and Issinger still side by side. It's going to be who's braver on the brakes through Bruxelles. Budak got
so close.
It's to the outside for No Name. Issinger still holding on. Budak's gonna have to try that again next lap. A very close side-by-side battle. Puon actually got a lot more pace. I think he had to slow down to not make contact, or there was a slight bit of contact. I couldn't quite tell.
It looked like it, yeah.
Positioning from Issinger to deny a potential sling up the inside. Now for the exit of Stavolo, this will determine if Budak gets a good shot to make a move into the chicane. Entire lap of battle, as it looks like there's definitely going to be enough pace to make a move. Depends on how Issenger defends. A little shaky out of Blanchimont, but it's not going to be quite enough. Budak decides to take a very different line through the chicane. It's side by side, but only for a little bit. Budak now going to take the outside line for La Source, trying to potentially either go around the outside or to perform a switchback. A little bit of contact will be from door to door. Issenger holds this position. Rouge, it's a very shaky exit.
Oh my god.
Very close to hitting a wall. Just about saves it, but also loses about half a second in that. And that's going to be a little more time for Budak to try to be able to make a move.
I can't believe you saved that. And actually, rain coming up now. Rain coming up out of a sudden.
People may... There may have to be an extra pit stop to wet tires. It's only half an hour, so light slicks could still be viable.
And Enting and Jungman are gonna be very... I mean, it might still be might still be viable, but I mean, if the race is gonna increase, Jungman and Enting are gonna be furious about not having waited.
Issenger being forced into the inside. Budak through the second corner of the Fania chicane, able to make the move. Switchback does give the position over to Budak. A very long feud, seemingly resolved, with Budak coming out on top. There's a little bit of contact. It's pretty damn good racing from the two Ferraris. It's not quite over. Issenger is looking to take this position back. 0.3 of a second so far. It's going to be actually a little too far to make a move. Goes into the pit lane, Issenger, and that's finally some time alone for Budak, able to finally get some laps in without a battle.
I think Toby Issenger is gonna go for wet tires now. I mean, on last week's race, he was basically switching from dries to wets every time the rain started or ceased. So you see a lot of drivers now coming into the pits, probably to switch tires. The rain looks like it's pretty heavy. So at least in parts of the track. And let's see if Wesley stays out as well. If he stays out or comes in as well, definitely looks a lot less stable in the Rostov chicane here.
Nailing this, the timing of going onto wets is gonna benefit you so much. Enting does hit the wall on the exit of No Name. That's a little bit of a tough scenario. Might be willing. I think that's one of the front runners that's definitely going to decide to switch onto wets if this keeps going. If Leafio's pretty comfortable, then there's a chance that we may see a very different scenario between a few different teams.
I mean, Wesley is a pretty capable driver in the rain, and in the last lap he did a 2:24.9, so he's losing 7 seconds, more than 7 seconds on his best lap time, and 7 seconds on his usual lap times. So that is quite the time loss, so it might definitely be a good strategy to switch to wets now. Issenger coming out of the pits. We're looking at Enting, who did have a struggling a lot on the braking there.
It's definitely going into the pits.
As well. Definitely gonna go for wets now. And he will want the rain to. He will want the rain to intensify. Looks very intense.
Yeah, now Lee, pretty much one of the only to still be on dry tires. Lap time so far has been pretty alright.
Newcoop is also staying out at the moment, also on dry tires, and he did a 2:26.6, so the rain is definitely slowing them down a lot. With a 50-second gap, half an hour to go, 15 laps, 10 to 15. Definitely a chance to catch up, even 50 seconds. I mean, if you're 5 seconds a lap faster.
Staying out again, deciding this rain isn't that bad, it's good enough to stay, and that's going to be a massive amount of ahead of anyone else if they do actually decide to just never switch to wet tires. Entering down to P5 right now is Russo. I think also did stay out. Yeah, Lee with a approaching. And more pissed. More penalties.
And yeah, does Mechanic go for the pit? It does. He does also switch to wet tires.
I think Lee's the only one on dries.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Russo has gone into the pits either. We will see the first. Russo sliding a lot there. We will probably see the first lap times on wet tires in a few seconds. Guys are picking up another 5-second time penalty, but also, I mean, the Lexus is definitely drivable on wet tires, even with dries. I mean, this is pretty substantial rain, so it might be a lot more difficult than just light rain, obviously. But the Lexus is definitely a car you can drive with dry tires on wet. You just have to be very careful. And Marius Issenger not now coaching Vivelion. Yeah, we can switch to that in a second.
A 100 seconds ahead for Lee, but will the We've just been informed that the rain will be very short, so within around 10 minutes it should be back onto dry tires. Lee, if he's able to withstand this rain on the dry tires, will have an insanely massive advantage, all but guaranteeing a dominant victory here at Spa. Having taken a look at the times, still lapping the fastest out of anyone and on dry tires.
Issenger was the first to switch to wets, and he's just approaching the finish rate. And he'll probably set a lap time a few seconds. Let's see if we can actually set a faster lap time on wet tires than Wesley can on dries. And the pit window just closed, and Marius Issenger on wet tires on the rainy track as a 2:33.8. He was into traffic and had to defend and had to pass Zivelion, but still just
It's a second and a half
less
faster.
than, yeah, a second and a half faster than Wesley, so there's barely any advantage.
And considering he has currently a 100-second lead, that's
more than 100 seconds. He's 2 minutes ahead of just Nuki in P2. So
130 seconds now. That is a ginormous lead, and it doesn't look like it's going to be stopping, especially if Lee is still able to lap as fast as anyone can on his dries and wets, and doesn't have to make another pit stop. There's nothing to stop him except for maybe some sliding into a wall.
yeah, that's what I wanted to say just now. I mean, he has to be very, very, very careful right now to keep the car on track. He cannot allow himself another spin in Eau Rouge.
Yeah, spin Eau Rouge now. But,
the load he's taking the car.
When it happened before is you don't have the grip to stay and stay out the wall. On to lap 67 for Lee, with 20 minutes left on the board. Race.
The app is now 6 seconds a lap faster than Wesley on wets. So that is pretty substantial time gain. Although he is more than a lap down. Russo is also almost 8 seconds, almost 7 seconds slower than Jongman. Will probably catch him on the next 2 laps. If he's 16 seconds ahead. So Jongman is on track for a potential podium position. That's
Herrero
also
just got an overtake onto Borussia as just able to find more grip in these wet conditions. The Porsche are able to make a little bit more space and already a second ahead. That's clearly just much faster in the rain. Last lap was 10 seconds different, although that could have been from some spinning.
Yeah, and he was immediately pulling a gap there, so definitely no chance for Borussia to catch her over there.
Now, people are lapping faster than Lee. But with 230, sorry, not 200, 2 minutes 30 of a gap.
He's
pretty much an entire
them.
lap. Yeah, literally like an lap difference. It's going to be very, very tough for Jongman to make that gap up in 18 minutes.
It looks like the rain has...
New Coupe of 2 minutes 27. That is a very fast lap and is the person in second. 2 minutes with... If the pace keeps staying like this, it's an 8-second gap. 2 minutes.
And Queen on in P13 is going to pits. And Marius is into his spun. Oh my god. Where is that? That is after Blush. He can't.
Can't get back onto
warm,
the...
yeah. Has to be very careful.
Very
He's completely spinning there.
Managed to get moving again.
He did some
That's
donuts for the
lost.
fans. Gideon now approaching him.
Many grandstands and actually I think there are some.
There are
actually.
grandstands. Yeah. You can probably see them from the grandstands here. On the start finish straight. I don't know if you could see that, but
Gideon
All hands on
only
the street.
3 seconds behind this year. Potentially gonna be able to catch up and make a move. So far, still the fastest lap in the wet conditions has been Yuku with a 2-minute 27.5, which the pace is clearly there for Yuku. Caught up 4 seconds in the last about 2 minutes, but that's
Aim
just
for-
not enough. For that.
probably not. Also with the rain, supposedly. I mean, I don't see any more rain at the moment from this
It looks
camera
like
angle.
it's gonna be dry.
Yeah. Question is how fast it's gonna be drying up. I mean, it is already dark, darkening, and it probably has cooled down a lot. And also, as we're talking about Miyuko catching up to Wesley, Jongman is catching up by a lot on Russo in P3. So that's gonna be another battle to look out for. But let's look at the replay of Marius isn't just spinning. He cost him a position.
It's just
He's
through
already
the fast
spinning
lap.
through the corner. Yeah, already
was-
drifting
it-
through the corner there.
That would have been a beautiful drift. Unfortunately,
Definitely. Yeah, look.
the second half
You can see.
Tremont fastest corner in the track, really. And
If he had
not
been
able-
a little more, he had been a little more on the inside there, but you can see he was drifting through the corner, and then his rear tires got onto the curb there, and the curbs in the rain are deadly. So his tires got onto the curb, and that's when he completely lost it. Luckily, I think kept it out of the barriers, but then
yeah,
no
that was
control over the
okay.
car.
So,
Looked for
At
a
least
second
that's-
like he might have. It did look for a second like he might have been able to save the car, stay ahead of Rebellion, but
hey, another penalty.
penalty, a second penalty for you, and for you too. Everyone, I think everyone in this race has received at least one 5-second time penalty.
I'm not sure if Jungman's
I'm not sure. We'll see later.
Well.
But yeah, and then he had no control over the car, and then also we saw that on the broadcast, him trying to rejoin the track and spinning again. Obviously, there's completely no grip off the track there.
Jungman is facing a little bit of problems with traffic. 6 seconds behind Russo for the podium places. Third place still up for grabs, I think. First and second, way too far up the road, and I think it's too late. Even if the track dries up, I think it's too late in the race to even bother switching to dry tires.
Oh, definitely
So-
not.
Yeah, 12 minutes with like an 80-second pit stop, you're just gonna lose positions and not have enough time. Especially there, you're really losing about. Okay, you're losing about 10 seconds compared to if it was fully dry, maybe a little more.
Yeah. And
But
we just saw Inon pass Feige on the start finish straight. Just got a bit way bad exit off the bus stop. Came up in the P14. Lately we've gone from 23, I think it was 23 teams actually that started. We've sadly gone down to...
Actually, no, yeah, I think everyone did make
22 or 23. Yeah.
somewhere around
We've
there.
gone down to, sadly, there's 17 teams who hopefully will all finish this race. Actually, Heike is not letting go of that position. He wants the P14 back from Queen Norm.
Yeah, the Ferrari
Ooh.
spinning out to control the back.
Crash.
Does
I
give
bet
the
you that-
position of Feige not the way you really want to.
I bet you that was the curb again. I think he does rear tires on the curb again.
Yeah, we saw that happen before with Enting, who is fighting for podium positions. So someone who's a lot further back is making the same mistake shows that it doesn't matter who you are, you can still make huge mistakes. And I mean, we saw that with the Lexus spin right at the start of the race.
Definitely.
Though, now that the sun's gone down and it's rained, it's gonna be... The rain should probably stay for pretty much the rest of the race on the track.
Yeah, probably.
Ooh.
Ooh, Zivelion losing the car. And I think that is...
It looked like it was straight, like, back of the
Look-
car, straight into the...
Yeah, it looked like that was in Campus or Stavelot. Not entirely sure though. Maurice is really
I think
also
it was-
struggling a lot there on the braking point. Also in Stavelot.
Everyone's struggling. Lee's gap has gone down to only a minute 40.
Ooh. A disaster. 9 minutes to go. Probably maybe 4 laps. And I don't think if Lee does manage to keep it on track and keep it safe, I think he has that victory in the back. We actually saw him on the back of Happy Jongman in E4 there. And we have a replay on the spin from Ziverion. So let's take a look into this. And the curbs
Hits
again.
the card.
Yeah, absolutely hitting that.
Oh, actually
Did
didn't.
not
Okay.
going to the wall. He was
Yep,
slow
stop.
enough. Held the brakes.
Just
Saw that beautifully.
luckily,
Just
that was a
holding the
pretty
brakes.
slow.
yeah, it saved him there from from shredding his rear in the barrier. Oh, and that looks like a lot of damage on Berghold on the front there. He completely missed that chicane. Jungman does not manage to catch up to Rousseau at the moment. There is an 8.5 second gap between them, but
It was 3 seconds in the last lap. And
Yeah.
wasn't invalidated, so probably went off a little bit. That's why the gap has increased. It's pretty large gaps between people so far. Not many battles to go for the last 7.5 minutes of this race.
everyone is just gonna try to keep it safe, keep it on the track. The other is a little scared there. That was using the rear ended for a second, going off the white, over the white lines. In Puton, sorry.
Where's the race leader for 2.5 hours? We've got a replay coming up.
Almost the whole race. That was bear called. That was the damage we saw on him. With a similar drift, like from Race Isn't before, but he did go into the barrier, and that was the front end damage we saw before. Yeah, overcorrection. 2 times into the wall there, but actually saved it right after that. Yeah, this looks like Team Attack in the Lexus RCF GT3, the number 33. They are on track for the victory in the Spa 180.
Yeah, they've been just faster than everyone for the entire race.
Absolute domination.
A little bit of a spin early on. Lost them 3 positions at the start of the race. Since then, it has just been this execution.
Feige actually lost it in Starvelot again.
A lot of people losing it in
Yeah, absolute. Yeah, I mean, we've seen at the beginning of the race Eau Rouge and Radillon were the most dangerous corners at the moment in the race. Starvelot and Lachimont look to be the most dangerous corners. Yeah, absolute domination from Dan Lishin and Wesley this entire race. They held the fastest lap almost the whole race. I think for 1 lap Michael Newcook had the fastest lap of the race, but then Wesley immediately took it back. Yeah, they've been just absolutely dominating this whole race. And looking at Russo in P3, also with a very good race. Gained 2 positions over the whole race, so he started in P5, now on track to finish on the podium in P3. Michael Newcoop in P2 also gaining 1 position from P3 to P2. Pete Jongman and Max Enting actually lost 2 positions from the start of the race. TMT Studios Racing, the number 31 McLaren 720 is Evo.
We've seen Quinonen into the pits with 4 minutes on the board. Was that a drive-through?
Interesting decision. Looks like he has quite a lot of damage here. So might make sense. I mean, if you can fucking drive, then you have to go into the pits.
It's spin.
Ooh, epigenetic spin.
Does save it, and I believe that's P1.
It looks to be it. Marius Issinger in P6. Also a good race. They finished in the same spot where they started. They qualified in P6. A very eventful race for sure. Very eventful race in general for everyone. Gideon made up 3 places. Qualified in P10. Now on track to finish in P7. Also quite some action from his team. The El Presidente. Teammate is Medina Baden.
Second behind Randhauer. The battle for 12th place may be the final piece of this long act. 2 minutes 30 left.
and Wikström not really been at the front, really been anywhere fighting or anything very closely this whole race, but maybe he can pass the run tower now. Get a P12 exit, hopefully we can get the cameras on that. We're looking at Aki Jongman here. It's probably second to last lap.
Be one more lap, yeah.
Until we see run tower. Wikström actually lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, Lee will be able to finish this lap before the timer hits 0, so there should be one extra lap after this one.
So one more lap for Wikström to close a 1.7 second gap to run tower.
Yeah, has lost a lot of time, went from 0.4 to 1.9 seconds. It's going to be a mistake from...
again. They don't
still
look...
It's a 30-second gap to P5. It's going to be even more. What was that line? Oh, that was, I think, Feige.
Oh, yeah, Feige on the back of...
Also,
everyone's
last minute of this race.
Yeah, we're seeing way more crashes in the last minute of the race than we saw during the rain. So that was insane. I mean, all of these drivers are on wet tires on a drying track now, and that is leader Wesley crossing the finish line with 20 seconds left on the clock. He could just stay there and wait for the timer to run out and then cross the finish line. He would still be in P1.
Would have guaranteed a fast race. But this is the final lap of Lee crossing the line, and finally the counter ticking down to 0. It is the final lap and the final chances for any moves. Only people near each other are Randhauer, Wikström and Feige for 12th, 13th and 14th. But they're still in the few seconds apart, so unless a mistake comes out from one of the two further ahead, it's not going to matter. And after 3 whole hours, a darkening race, a rainy race with most people going to wet tires, and the leader Lee in the Lexus staying and sticking out for this holiday rain. A lot has happened throughout this race. Svelion does start the final lap. Almost everyone has been lapped by Lee.
I mean, Lee has lapped everyone except for, I think, you've seen him. Yeah. No,
New
I think
Russo lap 75. Everyone else has been lapped.
No, I think Russo is still also ahead of Wesley. Yeah, we see him from there. But yeah, he last chicane, unless he loses it now and just stays there for
either
2 minutes.
spinning or potentially purposefully waiting to have this race be over.
Yeah, definitely waiting for the race to be over. Yeah, Wesley
absolutely dominant.
Takes the victory for the Spa. Motorsport Spa 180, absolute domination the whole race. We've talked about it extensively. Marius is waiting in the bus stop chicane for him to cross the finish line. Finishing in P6. Bergholt finishing in P11, and Herrero and Bossier in P8 and 9. Happy Jongman now approaching the last chicane. No danger from anyone behind him either. Rebellion is 18 seconds behind him. And Wikström right on his back here. And Happy Jongman crosses the finish line to take P4. And Wikström takes P13, Feige P14. And this is Newcoop in P2. Also with a very good race. But in the end, sadly, wasn't enough for a first place finish. No chance for him against Wesley.
Randhauer did get dropped down to P16, was 17, and don't believe it is P16 as due to several penalties.
Randhauer has actually been disqualified. Hopefully we can see what that is for, but right now we're focusing on Micha Newcoop crossing the finish line in P2, right, followed by, I think there was, I'm not sure who that was, but that is Alessandro Russo through the last chicane as well, and crossing the finish line for a P3 victory. A very good ride for him from P5. Yeah, from P5 to P3. Herrero, last person on the...
Gideon still on the lap. Seems like it may have been a bit of a shaky one, but finally managed to cross the line in P7. Bumped up to P6 due to penalties, I assume, from Herrero.
Randhauer, we see there, has actually been disqualified for driving backwards over the finish line. Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that. But yeah, that is it. That has been 3 hours of intense racing, a lot happening, definitely not a boring race. And let's look at some race highlights. So this is the race start, and Max Enting actually getting ahead of Wesley on the first lap here. I think most of the drivers in the front actually made it through Eau Rouge safely, and then Wesley overtaking Max Enting again in Le Coupe. And that is Rogel completely losing it in No Name. And another big contact from Hinson in Bruxelles. That is what we are talking about a lot. Wesley absolutely losing the car on Eau Rouge and losing a lot of places. Dropping down to P4, but he managed to claw that back. Another contact. And the second driver from the top of the field, Luke Newcoop, also losing it in Eau Rouge, similar to Wesley. And that is also a contact we talked about extensively. We were in a bit of a disagreement about this. And that is Bobby Issenger getting spun by Budak on the first corner. From the perspective of Baru, who had to get out of his way to avoid a collision there. Would have been a big collision. And then same lap, but at the end of the lap, Bobby Issenger getting dive bombed by Budak there. Completely went into the side of him. Probably didn't check his rear view mirrors.
Very lucky to keep it out the wall there from Budak.
Yeah.
Sideways through Radion doesn't tend to end very well.
definitely not so very skilled to save that there. The drift around Lashimov from Marius Issenger, it sadly did not end well for him. So that was it.